Καλημέρα σας και χρόνια πολλά. Η σημερινή εκπομπή είναι η τελευταία για το 2013 και θα είναι ένα διαφορετικό Καλημέρα USA. Με αφορμή τη χρονιά που φεύγει, θα θυμηθούμε με ένα ξεχωριστό βίντεο τους πιο σημαντικούς καλεσμένους που περάσαν από το στούντιο και τις πιο όμορφες στιγμές που ζήσαμε στην εκπομπή. Καθίστε λοιπόν στο καναπέ σας και ελάτε να δούμε μαζί το αφιέρωμα στην σεζόν που τελείωσε. Today, we're honored to have with us Greek-American writer and award-winning investigative reporter Nicholas Gage. Author of the worldwide success Eleni and A Place for Us, Nicholas Gage has also pursued a career in films, serving as co-producer of the movie version of Eleni and as an executive producer for Godfather 3. Mr. Gage, it's a great honor to have you here with us on New Greek Television.
Pleasure to be here.
You have a very interesting story, and I do want to begin with your life of coming to the United States. You came here 8 years old.
9 years old, yeah.
9 years old, as a Greek boy from the village of Ilia, and you went to Massachusetts to see your father. Tell us a little bit about your experience. How was it?
When I first came, I didn't know any English at all, and there was no English as a second language then, and they put me in a class with learning disabled children, and but you know, what looks like a tragedy can often have benefits. That moved me to learn English very well and fast, and 12 years later I received an award from President Kennedy at the White House for the best published writing by a college student while I was still at the university. Great country, America, right?
Yes, it is. It is a great country. And it also prompted you to pursue a career in journalism.
Yes. But the motivation for that is my mother was executed during the Greek Civil War by communist guerrillas, and I wanted to find out what happened to her. And so I went to journalism and went to Boston University, then to Columbia University Graduate School of Journalism, and I focused on investigative reporting because I wanted to develop the skills to dig out information, how to get people to talk to you and reveal things. And so I pursued a career with the Associated Press, the Wall Street Journal, and then the New York Times, where I was the chief investigative reporter for many years.
How difficult is it to sustain an investigative journalist career?
You have to have a low threshold of indignation. You know, you need to be able to develop sources, to keep your word, to maintain a professional distance, and to be dogged, not to yield until you get the story. And it takes patience, it takes ingenuity, and you have to be very agile in how you treat people to get them to trust you. The people would say to me, why do people give you information? Do you pay for it? And I said, no, the New York Times doesn't allow you to pay for information. Well, do you threaten them with exposure? I said, how are you going to threaten people who are in organized crime or drug dealers? Then how do you get people to talk to you? I said, I get them to like me. You know, that's the key. And it's the key in everything, I think. Yeah.
It is difficult. Your position's difficult. It's very risky. Was there a moment in your career that you felt that you might not be doing the right thing?
Well, there are many instances. The mafia was a professional organization, and if you maintain a professional distance with them, there wasn't danger. But the drug dealers had no professional standards, and they were the riskiest. And I went out through Latin America and South America to do a series on the cocaine traffic, and I came close several times to being in very serious trouble. But also, when later I was a foreign correspondent, I covered the Iranian Revolution, and one day I'm in my hotel room, and the Mujahideen started firing into the hotel, and bullets came through the hotel. I picked up the mattress, put it against the window, went to the bathroom where there were no windows, then finished writing the story, because the main thing as a journalist is to get the story out, you know.
I feel that you've written about so many other people. I think someone should do a story about you, a movie about you. Yes, many dangerous moments in your life. You've been part of a lot of the stories of the great moments in history. Tell us some moments in history that have remained with you that you were investigating at the time.
I was in Greece when the junta fell, when they attacked the Polytechnio. I was there when the junta fell, and I was, I was in Iran when the Shah left. I had the last interview with the Shah in Iran, the first with Khomeini. I was at the first takeover of the U.S. Embassy in Iran. I had a few moments in my time.
A few is not the is not the word. Those moments and these stories, is the truth given to the world,
Well,
or is it portrayed the way it needs to be portrayed?
In my stories, I think I always stuck to the truth, and also in my book, Eleni, you know, a lot of leftists weren't happy with the book, and they tried to attack it, but nobody found one error in it. You know, nobody sued me because they knew all the information was documented. I had not only had documents, but I had recorded conversations. When I went to interview people, I had a tape recorder under my sock here, and I recorded all this conversation.
I mean, Eleni for me was a moving book because my father comes from those parts of Greece, and it changed the way I saw Greece because I didn't know about those stories.
Well, you know, I wrote it really for my children and my nephews and nieces to know, you know, who their grandmother was and what they owed to the life they had, you know. And I thought it would sell 5,000 copies to Greek Americans, and then it, you know, it became huge. It was, well, I had 70 movie offers from from producers and studios when it first appeared, and it was published and translated into 34 languages, and 30 years later it's still in print, not only in the United States, but in England, in Germany, in Greece, all over.
An amazing story. Please read the book if you have not. So do you, suggest for the new generation to travel to Greece and to, introduce their children to Greece and learn about their culture?
It's going to be very hard for people to keep the language up, but to maintain the identity is not a, what group has a greater history than the Greeks? You know,
not one. I know.
Every society before the Greeks was a tyranny. They were ruled by strong rulers, dictators, pharaohs. Every society, the Assyrians, the Sumerians, the Egyptians, the Hebrews, the Persians. Why did that happen? Because when people came into communities, there was such conflict with all the conflicting interests. They felt only a strong ruler could keep order, so they put order before freedom. The Greeks were the first to say that you can have order and freedom, and they produced the first democracy. And the values that came out of that, individual rights, artistic freedom, all those are the values that the world functions on today. So really, if you're part of the culture that produced all that, why would you not be proud of it and pass it on to your children? So it's a matter of parents doing it, and passing it on.
Mr. Gage, I'd like to thank you so much for offering all that wonderful information to us and sharing your stories.
I enjoyed it. Good to see you again. Give my best to your dad.
I will.
Old friend.
And I have to say to everyone that this man is the reason that I was on Greek television. He helped me, gave me great advice, and was a protector in his own way.
Mentor.
Mentor and protector. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
And you can find Nick Gage's books on Amazon.com. And is there a website people can refer to?
Yeah, I have a website, yeah. But,
Doesn't like to advertise himself, so I will advertise for him. www.
Nick Gage.
NickGage.com. Very easy. Thank you again. And on that note, remember, Greeks abroad, Greek Americans, keep Hellenism alive in your family, in yourself, by preserving our traditions and our culture, and by keep it Greek. Thank you so much again. We're going to cut to a commercial break and be right back on Kalimera, USA.
On the island of Antiparos, at the heart of the Aegean, Gaia produced an exquisite organic olive oil in limited edition, which traveled all the way to the US. The sales of Antiparos olive oil will finance 10 new and innovative Greek companies to grow. Buy today your bottle in reinspiregreece.com and support the Greek youth to move forward.
Miss Koula Sofianou comes from the occupied city of Famagusta. Awarded a scholarship, she studied at Purdue University in Indiana, where she received both her Bachelor and Master of Arts degrees with honors. During her graduate years, she worked as an instructor of Spanish at the Foreign Language Department of Purdue's Liberal Arts School. Ms. Sofianou joined the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Cyprus in 1998. And besides being such a passionate supporter and fighter for Cypriot rights, she has had personal experience that has really guided her passion for helping others, especially children. She is devoted to the Cyprus Children's Fund, of which she's been involved with and a member since childhood. Welcome to our show, Kyria Sofianou. We're very happy to have you. You are the example of beauty, brains, and a wonderful person.
Well, I'm very happy to be here. I think, Yanna, you're also the example of beauty and brains.
Thank you so much. Thank you. You're doing wonderful things, and having you part of representing Cyprus in the United States has been a wonderful experience for all of us working with you, and you've done so many wonderful things to help organizations and people in representation of Cyprus in New York. And United States, rather.
Yes, but I wouldn't be here if it hadn't been for the community here and all the wonderful work that every single person that I've met has been doing all these years.
Where could someone reach out to, what organization, to provide some support for Cyprus?
Oh, thank you for asking this. There was a meeting actually on April 3rd that His Eminence Archbishop Demetrios convened at the Archdiocese, where he invited prominent members of different organizations, and we talked about ways to help Cyprus. And at that meeting, the foreign minister, Mr. Ioannis Kassoulidis, through a conference call, he actually exchanged views for more than 1.5 hours with everybody there. And so there was another meeting just after Easter with His Eminence and a few people from the Cypriot community, the primary representative of the United Nations, and I, and we made up a plan on how to help people in Cyprus. And what we did is that we have 3 organizations in Cyprus that they need money right now, humanitarian assistance. It's an organization that deals with autistic children, another organization that deals with children with moving problems, and also we want to create day schools, daycare schools for children that come from problematic families. So after school, they can stay at school and they can be provided with teachers and food. And everything is through the Archdiocese here. So if someone wants to contribute, they can contact the Archdiocese. There's a Cyprus Relief Fund that was created just for this reason. I want to tell you that the money goes directly to these organizations.
Going back to the Cyprus Children's Fund, tell us about that initiative. Who began the Cyprus Children's Fund, and what is their function exactly?
Oh, thank you for asking this. Cyprus Children's Fund was first created after 1974 to help alleviate the pain and help financially the families, especially orphan children. It was an idea of the Cyprus government, and in cooperation here with Greek Americans, the fund was created. And as I told you earlier, I was a sponsored child, and the late Jimmy Paul, who passed away 2 months ago, and Alexandra Paul, they were my sisters and I sponsor parents. So what one can do is that they can pick up a child and send money to Cyprus through the Cyprus Children's Fund. Nowadays,
it costs how much? 66 cents a day, I believe I read
yes,
somewhere.
It's only $20
yes.
per month. You can always give more if you want to. Nowadays, most of the children, they come again from families that they encounter problems. Maybe the parents, they are unemployed, or their mother or the father is in prison, and there are many needs. We also have children that they live in the occupied part of Cyprus. They're in the families of the enclaved. If I may tell you, after 1974, there were around 20,000 people living in the occupied part of Cyprus, and according to an agreement of Third Vienna, as is called, they were supposed to be provided with education and health, but this didn't happen. So nowadays we have less than 400 enclaved people in the peninsula of Carpathia. So there are children there. So you can also sponsor a child there. But as you said, $20 is nothing. And I'm also sponsoring a child right now. And
we should all sponsor a child.
Yes.
And where does someone, where can someone get involved? Do we have a website?
Yes, there's a website. I can give you the contact details later. Mrs. Thekla Colon is the executive director. She does an amazing job. There are almost 500 children right now that they're being sponsored by Greek Americans here. And,
congratulations.
And it's really, that's what I'm telling you.
This is wonderful.
Coming here, I knew what I was expecting. I knew that the Greek Americans, they're kind-hearted people, they're warm people, and they care about Cyprus and Greece.
And what we say to many of the first and the Greeks that came here, they don't understand that the new generation has a problem with the Greek language. We want to keep the Greek language alive, but we do also want to involve the new generation. And I don't know what your thoughts are on English programming to keep the new generation involved and updated and informed about what's going on.
Yes.
It is important to keep them involved, and sometimes we have to do that in English in order to make them feel part of what we're doing.
Yes, well, you can do both. And if they get involved, then they will want to learn Greek. Greek is a beautiful language.
It is a beautiful language.
And especially when I'm talking to the young people, when I go to schools, I always tell them, you know, if you want to follow, especially the medical profession, you better know Greek. If you want to do physics or science, you need Greek. And if you know Greek, it's so easy to learn a foreign language.
How do you like living in America?
Oh, wow. I love New York. I love New Jersey. I love Connecticut. This is the trusted where I am accredited to. There's a place for everybody, and even if you have an accent in English, that's okay.
Oh, of course.
But I'm very proud when I go and I say that, you know, I'm Greek, because everybody has a Greek friend who's very successful, and they say the most wonderful things about them. I wish I had more free time so I could attend more some of the cultural life in New York, I have to be honest. I like opera, I like the theater. I don't have so much free time, but
when you vacation, where do you like to go?
Cyprus.
Tell us some of your favorite locations in Cyprus, and what do you recommend to our viewers? Where should they travel when traveling to Cyprus?
Well, the beautiful thing about Cyprus is that it's small, so you can do everything. So we have beautiful monasteries. So if you want to go to the mountains, you can visit the Kikos Monastery or the Macheras Monastery, but there are also these little churches that they're really beautiful. and there are beautiful restaurants there with Cyprus food.
The beaches.
But then I'm going back to the beaches. I come from Amochostos, and so I strongly recommend Protaras and Ayanapa. They're amazing.
Paphos?
But also Paphos, and Paphos has good fish as
and
well.
And a great nightlife, I hear. A great
yes.
nightlife.
Limassol has a good nightlife.
Limassol.
And also
Fashion.
Larnaca.
There's a lot going on in Cyprus. People aren't aware. I've been there. I used to do a show there for a year, and I couldn't believe how wonderful. And they all spoke English.
Yes.
And they were so fashion forward and open-minded and educated. I had a great time traveling to Cyprus.
And there's lots of cultural life. There are many festivals taking place in all cities. Nicosia is really amazing. Even during the summer, people want to go to the beach, but there's also all these cultural events taking place. There are international film festivals.
Yes.
Experimental theater. There's lots of cultural life.
And what is the website for traveling to Cyprus?
Well, you can go to...
The ministry has a website, I
yes,
believe.
Yes. You can actually Google Visit Cyprus, and it goes immediately
right
to the Cyprus Tourism Organization. Or you can also Google the Cyprus Embassy in Washington, D.C., which is www.cyprusembassy.net. And there you find all the information about Cyprus. Cyprus Tourism Organization is doing a great job in promoting Cyprus. If people are in Twitter, they can follow Visit Cyprus. I'm doing it. So
everyone follow Visit Cyprus.
Yes, it's really amazing.
Κυρία Γενικέ, we are so happy to have had you here today. Ms. Sofianou is, I'm going to keep saying it, the example of successful, beautiful, smart women that are making a difference in the community and for her country, representing the Republic of Cyprus here in America. And would you like to leave our viewers with a message for the new generation?
Yes. First of all, never forget where your family comes from. Να μιλάτε ελληνικά και λάθος να κάνετε δεν πειράζει. Πρέπει να μ' ακούσετε εμένα όταν μιλάω Ιταλικά. Κάνω λάθη, αλλά επιμένω να μιλάω. Visit Greece, visit Cyprus, be proud of being of Greek origin, and trying to be more involved with the community. My door is always open, you can always visit the consulate, and let's try to find ways to get you more involved. I'm very proud to be the Consul General of Cyprus in New York, but most importantly, I'm very proud to be serving this community here.
We're going to take a short commercial break and be back to meet Christos, who is a famous Fifth Avenue hairstylist, and we're going to hear all he has to say about how to have healthy and long and wonderful hair.
Ολοκαίνουριο κατάστημα στην καρδιά της Αστόριας. Τσακίρης Μαλάς. Τα καλύτερα και τα πιο μοντέρνα υποδήματα άριστης ποιότητας από Ελλάδα, Ιταλία και Ισπανία. Το κατάστημα που εξυπηρετεί κάθε ανάγκη της σύγχρονης γυναίκας και του άντρα. Τσακίρης Μαλάς, 3143 Steinway Street, Αστόρια, καθώς επίσης στο 7111 Austin Street, Forest Hills και 1206 Kings Highway, Brooklyn.
Owner and curly hair expert Christo has been styling hair since the age of 12 and developed an affinity for Shirley Temple-like locks early on. Since 2002, Christo's Zen Salon on Fifth Avenue has styled many celebrities including Deborah Messing, Stephen Baldwin, Perez Hilton, Antonio Sabato Jr., Chase Crawford, Kristen Cavallari, Vanessa Manillo, and First Lady of Cyprus, and let's not forget Michalis Hadjiyannis. Welcome, Christo.
Thank you, Yanna. I'm happy to be here today.
You have done so much in your career, and we've been told you started from the age of 12, but you told me 11.
Yes, 11. Was like when I was little, was a choice of either working my father's coffee shop restaurants or with my uncle's salon. So I chose the salon because I was thinking it's nicer to hang out with all the girls. You know?
Of course.
So it was more fun.
So tell us a little bit about your background. Where were you born and raised?
I born in Lefkosia, and I grew up and went to school there. And as I'm going to school, when I was in the high school at the same time, I mean, either from the elementary school, I would go after I finished school and go to my uncle's salon. I was his apprentice, I was his assistant. By the time I was like 14, I was cutting, coloring, highlight. I was like ready-made hairdresser of that time was crazy. I mean, all my teachers in high school, I used to do their hair. You
probably got great grades, I'm sure.
Great, excellent. But I think was a passion.
I need some roots. Listen, you don't have to come to class.
Actually, I got caught once doing the librarian's hair. That time, the principal saw me and said, "Cristo, what are you doing there?" I said, "Highlights."
It's such a natural process. I'm doing highlights, a librarian.
And I was saying, the girl, she doesn't have money. Let me just take care of her. Almost done. I said, I cannot stop now.
That's
I don't want to burn her
hysterical.
hair. So he let me finish.
Oh, wow.
So anyway, we had a lot of good time when I'm growing up as a young stylist. Was a great, it's a great industry. I loved it from the moment I touched my hands into it.
What do you do best? I know curls are your specialty. You're famous in America for your curls.
Right. I have a full line called Curlisto, which is catered to the curly girls, which is my strength there. But in order to succeed in the industry, you have to know everything. So for me, when I was starting, I knew how to cut, color, style, do updos, everything. I was a full-time stylist. I didn't believe that only I'm going to be a colorist or a hair cutter. I think in order to succeed in the profession, you have to know your way around it.
What do you do best? What do you feel you do best?
I think everything I touch. I don't have
Turns
a
to
favor.
gold.
I'm a visionary when it comes to my work. So if I see someone, I need to be able to give her the right color, the right haircut, and I'll advise the makeup. I used to do makeup, not anymore. Now I have a team that does the makeup for me. I think it's important to know everything. The color will not get you 100% your makeover. And today you're going to see some makeovers that we're going to do. And you're going to understand why it's important to know color, to know haircuts, and you know how to style, because that will give you the completion of someone's puzzle to look good. And
We're very
here's the
excited.
number one.
Lisa's going to cut hair today. He's going to style it. He's brought his models. He has his whole team here. He has wonderful products. We're going to talk about them. I want you to tell me, when did you decide to come to the United States?
I think I came here the first time in '88. I was visiting. I was doing a show. I was working for a team called Data. There was a color team that eventually later on I became a part owner in the team. And we used to come here, do a lot of color shows for salons, and also participate in the International Beauty Show. And I love New York. I fell in love with New York. And I used to tell my friends, one of these days, I'm going to come to New York and I'm going to have a salon on Fifth Avenue. And all my friends say, yeah, right, whatever.
You did it. You see, affirmations.
But, now, they see Cristo Fifth Avenue, and all my friends say, respect, you say you're going to do it, and you did it. I said, you know what? I think in life you have to have a vision, and you have to plan it, and you have to make it happen, and you have to believe in yourself. And I think that's very, very important. And also not to forget from where you come from. Always to remember who helped you, and always remember who put you to this business to begin with, and appreciate and give back. I think that's very important. And I think giving back is also giving back to the community, to your own people, to your culture, to your country. I'm very proud to be Cypriot, very proud. And I always talk about it when you see my write-ups in different magazines, people ask me, where are you from? I say, I'm Greek Cypriot. I'll make sure and I say I'm Greek Cypriot. No way, I'm not going to say, yes, I have to represent, from where I come from. And of course I tell them, of course my residence is in New York, my salon is in New York, but,
Tell us about you, Christo. You're married, you have a wonderful daughter who you sent to Greek school.
Yes, she went to St. Dimitrios, Alexia. Yes, I'm married with Natalie. She's from Taiwan.
Taiwan.
Yes.
Beautiful baby.
We
Beautiful.
have
Beautiful
a
baby.
nice girl. Her name is Alexia, our daughter, and she just graduating from the 8th grade. She's going to be going to LaGuardia Arts and Performance for visual arts.
Wonderful.
Yes, she wants to become a designer.
Of course, coming from such a And does your wife work with you in the industry or nothing to do?
My wife, she runs the product lines and the marketing and the PR division. We working together, but not together. It's different offices.
The
so.
power team, and that's good. You work together, but not together.
She's in the business side of it. She always handles all the business side of it, and I'm the artist for the brand.
Σήμερα η καλημέρα μας θα είναι πιο ροκ από άλλες φορές, καθώς μαζί μας στο στούντιο βρίσκεται ο Κωνσταντίνος Μαρούλης. Έγινε γνωστός στο αμερικάνικο κοινό από το American Idol. Στη συνέχεια ξεκίνησε καριέρα τραγουδιστή και ηθοποιού. Έχει στενές σχέσεις με την ελληνική κοινότητα και έχει τιμηθεί από το Hellenic Times Scholarship Fund's Humanitarian Award. Constantine Maroulis became a household name after his participation on the fourth season of American Idol and then took Broadway by storm in the cult hit Rock of Ages. Since then, his stars continue to rise, and he recently starred in the Broadway revival of Jekyll and Hyde. Kalimera, Constantine.
Kalimera.
Did you understand anything I said from the Greek part?
Yes.
All right, give me 5. He speaks Greek.
A little bit, yeah, I understand it quite well. Do you know, I grew up so Americanized here in New York. My parents were both born here in Brooklyn. Actually, we're not in Brooklyn, but close
In New
enough.
York, but Brooklyn.
Yeah, so, but I grew up very traditional. I just didn't speak as much Greek around the house, so it didn't, you know.
Tell me about your family. Your mom and dad, are they first generation and your grandparents were here first?
Yes, my grandparents came here quite a long time ago, you know, in the teens.
Teens, wow.
Yeah, man.
They met here in Brooklyn? I mean, in Brooklyn, in New York?
No, I think they came over. They came
over
together.
married?
Yeah, I think so.
In their teens.
No, well, in the 19 teens.
Oh, 19s, not their teens.
19s.
1900s.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
you know, my parents were born in the early 1930s. You know, so they've been around a long time.
Wow. And so, where are your grandparents from?
My mother's side is from Yanina.
Yeah, that's where we're
Yeah.
from. Uh-huh.
Yeah, Yanina.
My dad.
And my father's side is from like all over Ithaki.
Lower Ithaki. Oh, beautiful.
Ithaki.
Beautiful. Ithaki is absolutely gorgeous. So do you travel to Greece?
Sometimes I do. You know, with this sort of Broadway work schedule, there's not much room for much else in your life. But I enjoy it. And I look like I'm on vacation.
We
today.
love it, yes. And you should be on vacation. He works a lot.
I came in full
double
pool attire.
shows and...
Yeah, we love it though. You know, I love it, and I rely on my Greek work ethic to get me through, and I do very much enjoy the schedule and the grind.
Well, you sing a lot of different types of music. What type of music do you like to relax to? What type of music do you like to wake up to? Tell us a little bit about what you like.
Wow, you know, I think a lot of my fans know I love sports. You know, I love.
Are you a Knicks fan?
You
better say Knicks. You're in New York.
Well, I'm a Yankees fan.
Okay,
I'm a
good.
big Yankees and big New York Giants fan, football, and I love basketball. But I've never really been hardcore about the Knicks or the Nets. So, but you know, so a lot of my downtime, I like to enjoy sports and traveling, you know, and going for a ride, and you know, going down the shore and things like that, and you know, in those sort of brief moments of off time and stuff. But music I like, you know, there's some great stuff out there that's current. I went to the Songwriters Hall of Fame last week. Last year I performed with Meatloaf, and
wow.
everyone was there. Bob Seger, you know, it was
Great
amazing,
experience.
amazing experience. And this year was the biggest one they've ever had. Steven Tyler and Joe Perry were inducted. They performed. Nickelback performed. Elton John was there with Bernie Taupin, his writing partner. They were sitting right next to me. Sting inducted them. There was only 500 people there, and all of us. And the original Foreigner lineup got up there. So that stuff for me, you know, that era of rock is just, that's the best.
I know,
You
I'm
know,
with
classic 70s rock for me is.
That's my era too.
Love
What do
it.
you think about the singer from Foreigner?
Well, the original singer of Foreigner is one of the best.
The
Well, the guy who's touring with them now,
phenomenal?
he can sing. I mean, he's amazing. But I'll tell you what, Lou Gramm, the original, still wails. He was like, jukebox heroes, wailing up there. I mean, he doesn't look the same anymore. But the guy that they tour with now is very good. But it's weird. There's like no Mick Jones. There's no, you know, Lou Gramm.
The music is still alive.
But it's the music,
That's what I'm
sure.
saying. It's alive. That music is never gonna die.
That's
Not because
right.
I'm a rock fan. Now look what I'm wearing.
Look at you. That's a classic.
I bought this when I went over to interview him years ago, And I saw his show 3 times. Whoever has not seen Rock of Ages, you are missing out, especially I'm a 90s girl, so 80s and 90s girl, but that rock era.
That was from, I think you originally saw us off Broadway.
Yeah.
Originally at the
That's
New
right,
World stages.
That's right.
And then the show became this like phenomenon, and we moved right to Broadway, and
It's like
it
being in a
just took off.
concert. We wanted to get up and sing and dance. They were like, please sit down, please sit down. We wanted to just stand up.
Well, it was a lot of fun, and to make something like that, this sort of what sounds like almost like a stoner idea, to have it become this amazing artistic achievement, and to be a part of it from the beginning, get the Tony nomination, huge.
So Broadway and cinema, film is very different. Tell us about your experience with that.
Well, you know, I don't do a lot of film. I'd like to be able to be a part of it more. I was involved with the Rock of Ages movie,
Yes,
which was insane. I mean, to see, you know, this little baby that you
started with.
you know, yeah, and to see it explode so big in such a short amount of time with Tom Cruise and everybody. Now, I don't know if they made the movie that everyone wanted.
I love the show. I like the Broadway show better.
Well, it's a different thing.
But I
yeah.
love Tom Cruise. So when you see Tom Cruise rock out like that, his body, just the way he sang, was that his voice? People don't really know.
Yeah, it was. It was his voice. I mean, he's definitely got a voice in there, and you know they helped him out a little bit.
That's amazing.
They helped him
What
out.
film does.
Well, film and everything else.
Everything else.
A lot of tricks.
But also with your personal life, you have a gorgeous little baby girl.
I do. She's 2.5. Milena is her name. And she is wonderful. She's a little Greek baby.
Oh, it's so
You know,
cute.
she's not 100% Greek, but
She's got the Greek DNA. That's all that counts.
she does. She's very much Maruli. Italian.
And your parents are happy, and your family, and they have a.
My parents have been married over 50 years.
Oh, God bless them.
Yeah, so
that's a great example. Beautiful.
They've been married over 50 years. They live nearby in New Jersey. I see them all the time, and I'll be out there a little bit over the weekend with the baby. It's nice to leave the city and hang out in the yard and all of that, and she loves it too. I think it's good for her to get out there and, you know, see her parents.
Well, life has changed.
Yaya and Papu.
Yeah, Yaya and Papu. Life has changed for the better. It's getting better and better.
Working hard. I got a new project coming up that will...
Tell us about it.
Well, you know, I think I've been so lucky with my experiences on Broadway and these opportunities to create new roles that I want to step on the other side as well and help produce, you know, new works. So there's a couple of new titles in the works that I'm excited about, but you know, I won't bore you with the details yet.
No, we want to hear it. We want to hear it.
Well, there is one piece that I've been working on for a while now. It's called The Toxic Avenger, and it's a superhero comic book musical based on the same title comic book from the 80s and the Saturday morning cartoon, but of course originally based on the Lloyd Kaufman
That's
cult
creative, very, very
horror flick by the same title, The Toxic Avenger. It's got this sort of dark, you know, comedy edge to it. It's, you know, but it's a lot of fun. David Bryan from Bon Jovi wrote it with Joe DiPietro. They won the Tony for Best Musical for Memphis. They wrote Memphis, and so it's like a rock, you know, superhero, fun, satirical, crazy piece, and you know, it's a comedy, but we're excited about it, and you know, we're hoping to bring that to Broadway potentially this year. You know, so it's exciting.
We're going to look forward to that, and Constantine is an example to us all, especially the Greek American kids watching. He went to college. He continued his studies. He became a superstar, and we are very happy that you represent Greece.
That's right.
And what part of Greece is your favorite part when you travel? What do you like?
Well, I mean, how can you deny, you know?
Don't tell me Mykonos too.
how can you deny Mykonos, you know?
But you're not a club guy. You're a club guy, or do you like to go rock out?
I do. You know, I grew up in the nightlife in New York, you know, going all the time. So I can fall back into that quite easily and have a good time, you know, just, But I'll tell you, it wears you out, you know, but it's beautiful, you know. Saru and Paraga Beach, right? Those were really, that was a good time, you know? And it's nice when, you know, there's a couple of weeks in August, a lot of New Yorkers are there too, so you see a lot of your
Yes,
Paraga
probably a lot of your
and
friends,
stuff.
right?
Yeah.
You have a lot of Greek American friends or just a mixed group?
I do. They're a little separate, you know, from like my normal
You
set.
like to separate us.
Separate these guys.
Because the Greek American thing is just for the Greek Americans, the humor, the
It's
whole,
hard for them to understand a lot of like, you know.
the GA thing.
Yeah.
Well, Constantine, thank you for coming to Kalimera
you.
USA. We want you to leave our viewers with a message.
All right, well, where are we? Is that me? Hey, hi. Okay, well let's take
Oh, I love that.
around.
He's rocking out, hair's down.
And,
I was going to ask you to do that, but I wasn't sure.
well, I didn't even shower this morning, to be honest. No, I'm just kidding. Not really. What message is there other than, you know, just love each other? You know, I know there's a lot of stuff going on in Greece right now, and you know, but just know that everyone here is thinking of everyone there, and we know as Greek people that we'll pull through these times of turmoil and all of that, and that it's a beautiful, beautiful place, and you know. Sure, I'll come this summer and I'll light some euros on fire and I'll help the economy as best as I can.
I'm holding you to
do
that.
my part.
I am holding you to that.
That's fine with me.
Constantine Maroulis, ladies and
best
gentlemen.
tour guide right here.
We're going to take him to Greece. We're going to show him more places because there are a lot more places than Mykonos.
I know that.
We're going to take you where your parents are born, where your grandparents were born, and watch out for Constantine Maroulis. Look him up and read up about what he's doing and follow him.
Το United Brothers Fruit Market, γωνία 30 Avenue και 33ος δρόμος στην Αστόρια, έχει όλα τα εποχιακά κυπευτικά, τόσο φρέσκα και λαχταριστά, σαν να βγήκαν από τον κήπο σας. Ανοιχτό 24 ώρες καθημερινά, σε 4.000 τετραγωνικά, προσφέρει μεγάλη ποικιλία από φρέσκα φρούτα και λαχανικά στις καλύτερες τιμές. Και τώρα, αποκλειστικά για το United Brothers Fruit Market, τοπικές φάρμες στο Long Island και Upstate New York θα παράγουν για μας εποχιακά φρούτα και λαχανικά όπως ραδίκια, βλήτα, σέσκουλα, ντομάτες, φασολάκια, αγκινάρες, κουκιά και όλα τα φρέσκα μυρωδικά. Ροδάκινα με γεύση Ελλάδος και 11 ποικιλίες μήλων στο Apple House μας. Στο κατάστημά μας συνεχίζουμε να προσφέρουμε άριστη εξυπηρέτηση, καθαριότητα, τιμιότητα και εξαιρετική ποιότητα και για τους πελάτες μας 15 λεπτά πάρκινγκ δωρεάν. Και μην ξεχνάτε, το United Brothers, γωνία 30 Avenue και 33ος δρόμος στην Αστόρια, ποτέ δεν είναι αργά, γιατί είμαστε πάντα ανοιχτά.
And now we have with us a super talented creative director, DJ, music producer, fashion designer, and cartoonist extraordinaire. Ladies and gentlemen, Mateos Sprague.
Hello.
Mateos, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
You are an amazing, amazing guy. You do so many wonderful things, and when I first met you, I'm like, we got to talk about this guy. This guy has to come on the show, because you are the secret success behind many of these fashion labels that are out there. And you are a graduate of Parsons School of Design.
Yep.
And you were working with Marc Jacobs.
In the beginning.
And then once you graduated, you were immediately picked up by Escada.
Exactly.
So tell us a little bit about how does it feel to begin designing right out of design school with all these wonderful designers?
It was a great pleasure. I mean, I was very fortunate that they chose me, and I always wanted to work in Europe. So when Escada chose me to go to Munich, Germany, you know, that wasn't the first place I was thinking, but I thought, hey, it's Europe. So I was able to go to Munich, and Escada is such a big, luxurious company, and it was a great experience because I was able to design the whole collection. Not normally out of Parsons or a fashion school, they have you do like one category, like, you know, dresses or jeans or tops, but I was able to do on the whole collection right from the beginning. And that's what I really liked, all the way from couture to casual wear.
That's amazing. And you also launched their Escada Sport line.
Yeah, that was my general style is more casual, and I love the idea of mixing casual with luxury. So while I was there, I did a little denim group, a little bit luxury, And we just called it Escada Sport. It was supposed to be just a little delivery, but it just blew up and it became a whole separate line.
Oh my God.
So it felt good that it was a success from the beginning.
Well, you were so talented that Escada gave you all this freedom to just design.
That was cool.
Tell me about when you work for these big labels such as the Marc Jacobs and Tommy Hilfiger and Escada that you have worked for. Do they give you the direction or do they say, just give me what you got?
Well, that was what was great about working from the beginning with such a company, because I come up with the concepts from the very beginning, from color all the way to the final product and the fashion show and making sure everything is perfect. And you think of concepts and the future trends, and you sort of incorporate it. What relates to the brand as well is very important, because Escada and Tommy Hilfiger are very different.
Completely different, yeah. You are also into music.
Yes.
So tell us about your music career, because it was also happening during the time that you were studying to be a designer.
Yeah. Well, I was DJing and mixing when I was in high school, doing high school parties and remixing mixtapes, stuff like that. Then I went to Parsons and just focused on fashion. And when I got back from Germany, and I was working with Tommy Hilfiger, a friend of mine who's an opera singer, we started working on music together. And I started going to the studio and realizing, I could do some fun stuff. And I started mixing some Greek with New York hip hop, mixing it up, rebetika, and just for fun, And I had the pleasure of meeting Patricia Field. And I gave her one of my CDs of the Greek New York mix, and she loved it, reacted very well. And she had me DJ one of her parties here in New York. And I wasn't DJing for a while, since high school. So I just played stuff that I'd mixed in the studio. And it actually got a great reaction. Everybody loved it, and it was so much fun. And from then on, I DJ'd a lot of her parties. And I came across being able to meet Anna Visi through Pat, and we did a production together, which was great.
Which one did you do?
We did. She heard my rebetika hip hop mix, so we did Pente Χρόνια Δικασμένος on her Apagorevmeno album, and then she asked me to do her remix album. Mm-hmm. So we took different songs and did a remix.
And you've worked and produced for many other Greek artists, like Going Through, 48 Hours, Alexia, and Vandi.
Yes.
And Miss Elliott.
Yeah.
Missy Elliott.
Missy Elliott's great. I did a song a few years ago called I'm Really Hot. And, that was a really cool little success there. Maybe something in the future, but that was just something a few years ago.
I like that you can just switch on and off. I mean, you are an artist in every respect, from with your music and with your designs. And going back to fashion, you have the luxury of designing for men and for women, and that is difficult for a designer. A designer takes, like you said, they choose one department to work in. Mm-hmm. Where do you see fashion today? How are people dressing?
Well, one thing that's important is quality, because in this day and age, you buy something, you really either want to wear it for many times, and people don't say, oh, he had that on last season, you know what I mean? Or price. Companies like H&M, Uniqlo, those are companies that are just offering quick fashion for a really good price. So I think value for your money is really the name of the game right now.
And the name of the game for you is not only fashion, going back to music. You have a lot of great songs that we're going to hear now. We're going to close off with Matteo's wonderful remixes. Where can someone buy your music?
iTunes. Unfortunately, the record stores have closed, so it's all digital. You can go on iTunes, pretty much, Amazon. A lot of my music's on there.
Look out for Matteo. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you for having me.
And we're going to hear one of his cool, super cool remixes.
Who rocks mics till they up and swell, son? It's just another fact of life for me, really.
Dr. Ellen Manos is an obstetrician and gynecologist specializing in female reproductive health. Affiliated with Lenox Hill Hospital, Dr. Manos is one of the leading OBGYNs in New York City today and has been practicing for over 31 years. Dr. Manos, thank you so much for being with us.
Delighted to be here. Thank you for having me.
All the girls are lined up in the control room and they're listening to what you have to say, and I'm sure all our viewers are as well.
Terrific. Thank
We had a
you.
lot of great topics today that we've been talking about with our doctors panel, and one of the biggest topics is gynecology. We would love to know, what is the perfect calendar of health that we should all have on our refrigerator? Women should have a calendar of health, a list of exams that they must do annually.
Right. I think that's a really great way of saying it. And by the way, thank you so much for having me on this English-speaking show, because my Greek is not bad. But the fact is, to communicate in English, to get across to this new population, my daughter is 20 years old, speaks a bit of Greek, but is really, as a Greek American woman, would absolutely love this kind of program.
Oh,
so I think it's really going to fill a great need. So thank you for having me part of it.
Thank you. These are great words. Thank you. Your support is greatly appreciated.
And as far as that calendar of health, it's a great expression. It's something that probably every woman should start thinking about, even in their middle teen years.
So when they start getting their period?
Well, when they start getting their period, they just have to be aware of what's happening to their bodies, because certainly in the routine kind of world where you're having regular periods, you really don't have pain, you're feeling pretty good about yourself, you don't really have to get involved with a gynecologist quite yet. But what I like to see is that in between, when they're between 15 and 17, they're a little too old to go to their pediatricians, and they're a little too young to have their own gynecologist. So often they're the kids that I've delivered. Their mothers will bring them in.
That's great.
And we start them off on routines, like you're saying.
Yes.
Talk about examining your own breasts. Know about nutrition. Know about good health issues like
Pap smears.
Staying healthy, Pap smears later on, because when they're teenagers that age, they probably don't need it.
Okay.
Getting the proper vaccines, and the HPV vaccine, maybe we'll touch on that later,
I would
because
love to,
that's
yes.
really
It's
important.
a big hot topic.
But once they get into their teens and 20s, and certainly if they are sexually active, they have got to be on a regular routine of women's health care.
And birth control?
And birth control. I mean, certainly, even if you're not sexually active and if you're a woman who needs regular care, you should be going to the gynecologist once a year. Once a year is absolutely a must for any woman. And that's important not only for a Pap smear, but a thyroid exam. Who checks your thyroid? I mean, your internist may.
I've never had my thyroid checked.
Well, we palpate, we feel, we look. Thyroid cancer is the #1 cancer amongst ages 18 to 28. #1. So thyroid should be checked, breast should be checked, abdomen should be checked, the Pap smear should be done, and a full pelvic exam.
Yes, people overlook that. Full pelvic exams. We don't do ultrasounds for the uterus and the ovaries. We really don't pay attention to that, and colonoscopies aren't done enough.
Well, I mean, it's great to go to your general internist or your primary care physician or your GP. They can do an exam. They sometimes even try to do your Pap smears, and they'll ask you, do you want me to do it out of convenience? And sure, a lot of women will do it out of convenience, but they're not getting the full exam.
Right.
A full pelvic exam, bimanual, 2 hands. We check the uterus, we check the ovaries. This lets us feel if there's anything abnormal, then we know to send you for the pelvic ultrasound, to be sure you don't have fibroids, to be sure your ovaries are normal.
Tell us about HPV. This is the latest that's out there. I mean, it's been out there for a couple of years, but women need to get more informed about what that is.
Yeah, HPV has been around a very long time, but of course it's been really noted and investigated over the past 20 years. And it's a virus. It's HPV is human papillomavirus. There's a host of them, many, 55 types, if not more. But the 4 that are really important. Yeah, it's contracted usually from contact. And when we say contact, it could be sexually transmissible, but also skin-to-skin contact. So even people that aren't fully sexually active, and I suppose it's hard to make that definition.
They're intimate, but
even if you're not having full sexual activity, you can also contract this. Contact, skin-to-skin, membrane to membrane. Having said that, 79 million people in this country have the HPV virus, and 14 million per year are getting new infections.
You've given us a lot of wonderful information. It's not enough for one show. We have to bring you back. And
Does that mean you're going to invite me back?
Yes, I will.
Thank you.
We love having you here.
Thank you
and I'm
so
sure
much.
all our viewers enjoyed all your wonderful, wonderful information.
Excellent.
Thank you so much. Thank you, and I'm sure the viewers thank you. Where can someone reach you if they would like to come and see you?
Oh, well, that's fantastic. I mean, I'm listed in the book. My private practice is on 63rd Street between Lexington and Park Avenue. And I would be thrilled to see my Greek-American fellow women, and non-Greek American, of course, but it's a need, and we need to stick together and improve women's health for lots of reasons.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
And now we are with a beautiful person inside and out. International Cypriot artist Alexia Vasiliou is here with us. I'm very excited. I'm a huge fan. I love her work. Alexia, thank you for being here with us.
What a privilege, what a joy to see you after Greece, you know?
I know, I know.
I'm happy to see you.
I'm ecstatic to see you.
Me too.
You look gorgeous. I love your hair.
Thank
Alexia
you.
used to be blonde, then she was red. Now she's this gorgeous, rich color.
Thank you.
You have evolved so much as an artist. I mean, you just keep doing bigger and better things every year. You're such a successful person, and we are happy that you can give some great advice to our viewers who follow you and are big fans. Alexia, for those of you who don't know, had a huge success. I mean, all her life started in the 80s. In 1987, she took place in Eurovision with a huge, successful international hit, Aspro Mavro. And then, I mean, her career took a huge turn in 1995. Tell us a little bit about that turn of your career in 1995, because you have so many years of success. Let's just start from there.
Thank you, Yanna. Okay, I recorded my album Klassika, which was with songs from Greek films, but it was all big band music.
The golden years.
The golden years, I would say. You're right.
Yeah.
And Kostas Kapnisis is amazing orchestrated it. Magis de la Portas was the producer, along with me, myself, for my BMG album. I did a duet with Rena Vlachopoulou, who I adored.
Wonderful.
Vlasis Bonatzos.
Oh, God bless his soul.
Yeah, and Zoe Kouroukli, I know, amazing talents. And Rena Vlachopoulou used to live in New York and sing jazz in New York. And I found out later, after a duet. So then I did a duet, a double CD with Mikis Theodorakis. And a couple of...
She's been privileged to work with the best, the best.
Well, I studied music in Boston. So to me, foremost importance is music, not gimmicks or not what will sell. Nobody knows what will sell. It depends on marketing. But my duty is to offer the audience or the buyers or the people who love music lovers the best, what I consider the best. Then I did a jazz album with Chick Corea, with BMG, which I owe to Miltos Karatzas very much, this opportunity.
Rock on, Milto. Great guy.
I love you, Miltos. And so, yeah, Chick Corea and John Patitucci, Stavros Lantsias did the music preparation, recorded in LA. That's when I fell in love with LA and I wanted to move. That was 1994. But then
Did that change you when you moved to LA? Did that make that turn that you had in your career in the style of music that you were singing? It was a wonderful transition.
LA actually changed me ever since I visited it in 1994.
How so?
There was some interesting energy which kept inviting me to go there. It was luring me to get there. And because I had a life and was working in Greece, and it was before the internet, so now you can be practically anywhere and have your office with you, which
Absolutely.
is
Virtual.
virtual. And my iPhone, I have a recording apparatus, applications. I have everything. So my
Technology
telephone,
is amazing.
Yes. So, but then I had to stay there. But then, so I was in 2009. I decided to relocate and just move to LA, and everything was 1,000 times better than the best circumstance I envisioned. The best. I had friends there, teachers from Berkeley, from college, classmates from Berkeley, musicians and fellow Greeks and Cypriots. So Yeah, I loved my life there.
Living abroad for many years has changed you, and what I do want to tell our audience, which is an important great news, is that you've been nominated. You're part of the ballot for nomination for a Grammy.
Yes.
We are very proud.
Thank
we are
you,
very
Yanna.
proud. And you know, I know Cyprus has been getting some bad raps right now, and the news from Cyprus with the economic crisis that hit
Yes.
Cyprus. But we want to support you, and tell us a little bit about this nomination, this ballot for the nomination.
Thank you for mentioning it. It's actually in the ballot for nomination for Best Jazz Vocal Album, and I produced it. It was recorded in Munich, Athens, and Paris. And the composer is Peter Massink, a Dutchman, a great sax player who I worked with in the Megis Theodorakis album, my jazz album, in my Ruby, my triple CD, which I will give to you. And so it's his music, compositions, his orchestrations, my lyrics, my voice, and my production.
Fantastic.
So yes, it was released the day after the crisis. Just the news about the crisis exploded in Cyprus. The next day, because we had been planning with my Valentina Carantoni, my associate, to release it. And we said, with all this bad news, should we just, no. We decided to go on with things as planned, because creativity doesn't need to stop because somebody decided, in politics, decided that, to stall us. No, nothing stalls creativity and production, because this was culture. It was what Dimitri said earlier, the journalist. Culture and creativity, and just keep doing what we know what to do best will save us in the end.
Yes.
And people need, this
you need the
support.
momentum. You need the momentum of creativity. You
and
need
the inspiration.
positive inspiration.
Positive, exactly. The reinforcement.
Yes, positive reinforcement, positive news, because things don't just stop. And this is what we've been saying with Greece as well. Yes, this might have happened, but that doesn't stop the talented people. It doesn't stop people from creating, from learning, from getting inspired. And during these times, perhaps people should look for this positive reinforcement to become more creative and use what's happened as a positive force and as fuel.
Fuel to creativity. That's what I do.
Yes. Tell me the difference of this type of music now. How do you feel? Do you add a little, can you put some Greek into your jazz?
There's always Greek and Cypriot. I mean, I make differentiation because when I love both countries, I feel that I am from both countries. Yes. But I grew up, I was born in Cyprus, that's why. So yes, of course, I always do. Yeah. I mean, and the way I sing and the images I have in my mind while I'm singing is the streets, the people, the language, the dialects, and the dinners, the smiles. This is what everything I do is made of. So of course,
you are in all your music.
And Hellenicity I'm proud to wear.
Absolutely, the flags are all over her face, arms, music, heart, soul. Tell me the best moments of your life that you remember.
Well, every day I think that yesterday was better than the day before, and than what will come. But every day I have just experiences which are really. But the best time, I think, and I can't think of one day. Only that I had an operation, just this. I never do, but I had it this past June, and I was staying with my parents in Larnaca, in the house where I grew up after the war, the Turkish invasion of '74. My parents took care of me, Yorgos and Athinoulla, and my sister Marita. And I just, oh my God, I loved being in pain, and I loved having my parents take care of me. I loved being
that child
there.
In you.
I loved it.
It's still there, that child.
It is indeed. Yeah. But after, I think I grew rapidly after this experience, because I felt that it's my obligation to hopefully never have to, but take care of my parents. Yeah. If the opportunity arises. Hopefully won't, because they're young and strong.
Good.
But I
it is
think
our
this
obligation.
Is just,
it's in our culture. It's in our culture.
And also one more thing, spending time with Maritas, my sister's daughter, Athina, this past year that I was in Cyprus, was a gift for me.
Yeah. Children they inspire you, they do, because they're so innocent and pure.
And intelligent.
Close to God.
Yes.
Yes, and intelligent.
Yep.
Yes. Many hidden treasures that inspire you. And what does inspire you when you write?
Everything. Before I began to write, I took creative writing in gender studies and feminist studies with a great, great teacher, Christiana Lambrinidis. She studied at Harvard and worked there, but then she lived in Pankrati. in Athens, where you know, place you know well. So I worked with her for a period of, I think, 7 years on and off. And that was, after that, there's no pain in my life. There's no loneliness, or now it's aloneness, which is a much, just, it's a feeling I love. So, yeah, I get inspired by everything around me, really.
And I want you to give our viewers a message who are inspiring to follow a music career. What would you have to say to them? Just to question why they want to be musicians. I mean, if they are, obviously, because some people may just do it to please parents or others. But no, just even, okay, we've overcome that. You are a musician. Just continue to be authentically you, who you are meant to be. No matter what a producer may say, of course, it's wonderful to hear people's opinions, but your heart and your stomach know best. And study what you do, in depth as possible. Now through the internet, it is so easy. We have such access to a vast library. And education, continued education is important.
Constantly, you don't learn,
evolve.
And that's it.
We want you to evolve.
Yeah, just by being us, though. And if something doesn't work for us, we stop it, we wrap, and we try to listen to our inner, to our core, and then we can be led to a different direction, which is more appropriate for us. So no fear.
Strong, beautiful words from a wonderful, beautiful, strong woman.
Thank you,
very
Yanna.
profound, Alexia, and I'm so happy to have you. We wish you the best of luck and success. We will be following your career. And for those of you who do not know where you can find Alexia's wonderful pieces of music and CDs, let our audience know where they can buy your CDs.
Thank you. Yes, it's hard. Yeah, it's strange that I have to mention it now, but yes, iTunes and CD Baby and Amazon, and of course the Facebook artist page, which is a very like a wonderful living room. And very much alive nowadays.
Your living room.
My living room, actually, where I receive friends and people I don't know who I meet there. And so please, you're welcome.
So look out for her, and I want you to dedicate a song to New Greek TV.
Okay, the song from Konstantinos Sayes' movie, Sacred Whispers, Must Save the Day, from my album Rebeat.
I wonder what the problem is with our self-acceptance, a gypsy presence on demand for stray-nomadic treasures. What sort of selfish self this is that cares not but for friction? Does she not know that freedom seeks no borders, no restrictions? Must change the way to save the day. Must save the day to change the way.
Homeric Tours. Πάντα κοντά στην ομογένεια, πάντα με χαμηλότερες τιμές. Homeric Tours. Το γραφείο παράδοση που επί σειρά ετών φροντίζει τον Έλληνα ταξιδιώτη με υπευθυνότητα και του προσφέρει ασφάλεια και άνεση στα ταξίδια του. Homeric Tours. Το Α και το Ω για τα ταξίδια σας. Για πληροφορίες και κρατήσεις θέσεων, τηλεφωνήστε στο 212 753 1100.
Ξεκινάει, σουτάρει και γκολ!
Πάθος. Εγώ ήμουν σαν λιγκάρι που κλειστράει στο κενό.
Σας παρακαλώ! Μην μου κάνεις κανένα ανοίξτε την άρπαξα, έτσι την άρπαξα εγώ, σας έπεσε!
Ωραία λοιπόν. Πες μου τώρα που είναι η Σόφη, γιατί δεν πιστεύω λέξη από όσα μου είπες.
An opportunity to make you fall in love with me all over again.
That's true. I see no one once. It had died and fallen to earth.
Δεν νομίζω χρειάζονται συστάσεις. Κορίτσι, ο Τζότζογλου. Λοιπόν, όπως λέγανε ο κορίτσι ο Μπάρκουλης, λοιπόν, Στράτο μου, χαίρομαι πάρα πολύ που είσαι κοντά μας.
Και εγώ χαίρομαι, Γιάννα.
Σε αγαπάμε πάρα πολύ, όλο το κοινό σε αγαπάει. Δεν χρειάζονται συστάσεις, γιατί ο Στράτος ο Τζότζογλου βέβαια έχει έρθει σε όλα τα σπίτια, σε όλων των Ελλήνων, σε όλο τον κόσμο. Έχεις παίξει στα καλύτερα σύριαλ, στις καλύτερες ταινίες, σε όλα τα θέατρα της Ελλάδας και τώρα στο Μανχάταν.
Τώρα στο Μανχάταν που έχω έρθει αρκετές φορές, γιατί αυτό που θέλω να κάνω στη ζωή μου σχετίζεται και με το Μανχάταν.
Ναι.
Δεν είναι ακριβώς μόνο η καριέρα, είναι και η ζωή. Είναι και οι άνθρωποι. Είναι και ο γιος μου.
Ναι.
Είναι πολλά μαζί που θα τα πούμε μέσα στην κουβέντα, αλλά αυτό που με έκανε έτσι να αισθανθώ καλά, ειδικά εδώ στην Αστόρια, που έχω δει πολλούς ανθρώπους που, ξέρεις, σε παρακολουθούν χρόνια, μπαίνεις στα σπίτια τους μέσα από την τηλεόραση, το ίντερνετ τώρα πια, τους είσαι οικείος και την ίδια στιγμή σου βγάζουν τη θέρμη την ελληνική. Δηλαδή, γιατί η Ελλάδα ξεχωρίζει για αυτή τη ζεστασιά που έχει ο τόπος από τον ήλιο, έτσι την έχουν και οι άνθρωποι. Και είναι κάτι πάρα πολύ όμορφο.
Στράτα μου, θέλουμε να μάθουμε τα πάντα για σένα. Οι τηλεθεατές θέλουν να μάθουν πώς ξεκινήσεις, από πού είσαι, από πού κατάγεσαι. Θέλω να μας τα πεις όλα.
Ωραία. Λοιπόν, γεννήθηκα ένα πρωινό στον Πειραιά. Έζησα μέχρι τα 18 μου χρόνια στον Πειραιά. Ο Πειραιάς είναι λιμάνι της Αθήνας. Αλλά πρώτη φορά ανέβηκα στην Αθήνα στα 18 μου.
Στα 18.
Είναι
δηλαδή ήσουν μόνο στον Πειραιά 18 χρόνια, δεν πήγαινες πουθενά άλλο.
Είναι σαν κάποιος να μένει Αστόρια και να πάει μετά από 18 χρόνια στο Μανχάταν.
Ναι.
Ένα τέτοιο τρελό πράγμα.
Είσαι Ολυμπιακός.
Είμαι Ολυμπιακός.
Βέβαια.
Ξεκίνησα...
Πώς ήταν τα χρόνια σου στον Πειραιά?
Τα χρόνια μου στον Πειραιά ήταν περίεργα. Δηλαδή ήθελα από 5 χρόνια να γίνω ηθοποιός. Πήγαινα κάθε μέρα και έβλεπα την ίδια παράσταση το καλοκαίρι από την ταράτσα του διπλανού εστιατορίου. Ήταν ένα ανοιχτό θέατρο που λεγόταν Πειραϊκό Λυρικό Θέατρο και έβλεπα την ίδια παράσταση κάθε μέρα. Μετά πήγαινα, έβλεπα τους ηθοποιούς στα καμαρίνια, δεν τους μιλούσα γιατί δεν ήθελα να τους απομυθοποιήσω. Βίωνα όλο αυτό το πράγμα. Δηλαδή κάθε μέρα έκανα προσευχή στο Θεό. Θέλω να γίνω ηθοποιός, θέλω να γίνω ηθοποιός. Μέχρι που κάποια στιγμή, μετά το στρατό, κατάφερα και συνάντησα τον Γκουν. Με έβαλε στη σχολή με υποτροφία, θυμάμαι, εκείνη το 87, τόσο παλιά. Λίγο πριν πεθάνει. Και μετά μου έδωσε τον πρωταγωνιστικό ρόλο στον ήχο του όπλου.
Από όλα τα σύριαλ που έχεις παίξει, ποιος σου έχει μείνει και με την ομάδα σου και με τους σκηνοθέτες και την ιστορία?
Κοίτα, Κωστάκι γουστάρι στη χωριάτα, που μου λέγε η Τζένι Μπότση στο σημάδι του έρωτα. Ήταν μια φράση έτσι που πραγματικά έκανε εκείνη την εποχή μεγάλη εντύπωση το σημάδι του έρωτα με την Βάνα Μπάρμπα. Αν και έχω αγαπήσει και άλλες δουλειές. Αλλά νομίζω ότι ήταν έτσι μια πολύ δυνατή ερωτική ιστορία που παίχτηκε, χωρίς όμως να θέλω να μειώσω τις άλλες δουλειές, ξέρεις.
Εσύ τι θα έλεγες τώρα σε κάποιο καινούριο καλλιτέχνη?
Να ακούει την καρδιά του. Γιατί μέσα σε αυτή κρύβεται το μεγαλείο του άγνωστου, της απέραντης ερήμου, δηλαδή του Θεού. Ο Θεός είναι μια τεράστια έρημος με χιλιάδες οάσεις. Αν την όαση την κουβαλάς μέσα σου, θα την βρεις και μπροστά στον δρόμο σου. Αν δεν την κουβαλάς, θα βλέπεις πάντα την έρημο. Δεν πρέπει κανείς να φοβάται όταν είναι νέος, αλλά και όταν μεγαλώσει πρέπει να θυμάται πώς δεν φοβόταν όταν ήταν νέος. Δηλαδή να παραμείνει κανείς νέος.
Να πούμε κιόλας ότι όλη αυτή η αγάπη και το πάθος που έχεις μέσα σου παίζει και ρόλο τα άτομα που είναι γύρω σου, που σου δίνουν αγάπη και δύναμη στη ζωή σου. Ναι. Θέλεις να μας πεις λίγο για την προσωπική σου ζωή, για τα άτομα που είναι στη ζωή σου, που σου δίνουν αγάπη?
Εμένα έχει σταματήσει, κολλάει το μυαλό μου, ναι.
Γιατί δεν είναι μόνο δουλειά, παρόλο που η δουλειά για σένα είναι η ζωή σου.
Εντάξει. Αν δεν έχεις όμως σε ποιους θα τα απευθύνεις αυτά, δεν υπάρχει τίποτα. Δηλαδή, αν έγινε ηθοποιός, έγινε ηθοποιός γιατί ήθελα να με βλέπει η μάνα μου στην τηλεόραση. και επειδή είχε πονέσει πάρα πολύ και είχε δύσκολη ζωή, όλα τα είχα αφιερώσει στη μάνα μου. Ζούσα για τη μάνα μου. Και έλεγα, τώρα θα είναι περήφανη. Α, τώρα θα με βλέπει. Α, τώρα εκείνο. Είμαστε συμπολεμιστές. Ο πατέρας μου, ένας άνθρωπος που τον λάτρευα και τον κουβαλάω μέσα μου. Έχω γίνει ο πατέρας μου. Και μάλιστα θέλω να γράψω ένα σενάριο για τη ζωή τους. Σενάριο το έχω λίγο, δηλαδή έχω ασχοληθεί χρόνια με σενάρια. Τώρα είναι ο γιος μου. Λιώνω. Τα πολλά λόγια είναι φτώχεια. Λιώνω. Απλώς τον βλέπω και λιώνω.
Κουκλάκι είναι.
Δεν είναι. Είναι ένας πάρα πολύ ωρίμος άνθρωπος. Μια φοβερά τρυφερή και ευαίσθητη δημιουργική ψυχή. Ένας άρχοντας, πρίγκιπας στους τρόπους. Και πραγματικά η αγάπη μας και οι συναντήσεις που έχουμε με διδάσκουν πολλά πράγματα. Με οριμάζει και μόνο η παρουσία του. Νιώθω πιο όριμος από την ομορφιά του. Μια ομορφιά που δεν είναι εξωτερική, είναι ψυχής. Και όταν είσαι δίπλα σε ανθρώπους που έχουν ψυχή, ομορφιά ψυχική, γίνεσαι και εσύ ομορφότερος. Θεωρώ ότι πραγματικά ο Θεός μου έδωσε ό,τι ονειρεύτηκα, μου το έδωσε πλουσιοπάροχα. Και θέλω αυτά τα πράγματα να είναι καλά οι άνθρωποι που αγαπάω και να μπορώ να συνεχίζω, γιατί στην ουσία το αφιερώνω σε αυτούς.
Τι σε ενδιαφέρει το Broadway, γιατί ξέρω αγαπάς το θέατρο. Αγαπάς πιο πολύ το θέατρο, το κινηματογράφο ή την τηλεόραση? Πού νιώθεις πιο όμορφα?
Κοίτα, οικία νιώθω πάντα στο θέατρο, γιατί είμαι 26 χρόνια κάθε βράδυ στη σκηνή. Φυσικά ο κινηματογράφος με τρελαίνει, είναι υπέροχο πράγμα, και η τηλεόραση. Τώρα το Broadway δεν τολμώ να το ονειρευτώ, μακάρι, αλλά δεν ξέρω να τραγουδάω. Εκτός αν μπορέσω να παίξω στο Broadway. Μπορεί και να μου τύχει στο Broadway, εντάξει. Δεν θέλω να κάνω τόσο μεγάλα όνειρα, όχι επειδή δεν μου αρέσουν τα όνειρα, αλλά δεν ζηλεύω την καριέρα κανενός, ούτε λέω πρέπει να παίξω εκεί. Σίγουρα ξέρω ότι θα παίξω θέατρο στην Αμερική. Έχω παίξει στο Λονδίνο, στο Riverside Studios, στο Hammersmith, ένα έργο της Λίας Βιτάλη με τη Σάρα Ντάγκλας, στα αγγλικά. Το είχα ονειρευτεί, κάπως έκαθισα.
Νομίζω μόνο αυτό σου έχει μείνει, να παίξεις Broadway, γιατί όλα τα άλλα τα έκανες.
Το όνειρό μου βέβαια είναι να μπορείς να παρουσιάσεις εδώ αρχαία τραγωδία.
Ναι.
Και αν γίνεται στα αγγλικά.
Γιατί δεν το κάνεις?
Ναι, αυτό θέλω να το κάνω.
Ναι, νομίζω πανεύκολα μπορείς να το κάνεις εσύ.
Θέλω να το κάνω. Έχω παίξει και στην Επίδαυρο με την Άννα Συνοδεινού, είχα τη μεγάλη ευτυχία.
Αγαπάνε πάρα πολύ το αρχαίο θέατρο εδώ.
Ναι.
Στο Λαμάμα δηλαδή, το Λαμάμα υποστήριζε και έχει ανεβάσει πάρα πολλές παραστάσεις αρχαίο θέατρο, ελληνικό αρχαίο θέατρο.
Θα δούμε. Τώρα ετοιμάζω και εγώ μια
παράσταση. Σε περιμένει, δηλαδή πολλά χρόνια σε περίμενε.
Μου το έλεγες εσύ, Γιάννα, χρόνια τώρα, όταν κάναμε τότε τη δικιά μας ταινία. Άντε, μάθε αγγλικά να έρθεις. Σου έλεγα, καλά ρε Γιάννα, τώρα το μαθαίνω.
Σου ευχόμαστε, τι να σου πω τώρα, ό,τι καλύτερο, ό,τι θέλεις, ό,τι υποθείς να σου έρθει στην Αμερική, οι πετυχίες που έχεις στην Ελλάδα και...
Μα ήδη μπήκαμε το δεξί, γιατί έχω πάρα πολύ καλούς φίλους. Είναι 4-5 άτομα εδώ στη Νέα Υόρκη, ανάμεσα σε αυτούς είσαι και εσύ, που και μόνο που είμαστε μαζί είναι σαν να σου κλείνει μάτι ο Θεός. Και σου λέει...
Εσένα πάντα σου έκλεινε το μάτι ο Θεός. Και λοιπόν έχουμε και μια κοινή φίλη.
Αυτή θα την παρουσιάσω εγώ. Τη Μαρία Λόι. Είναι φοβερός άνθρωπος, ένα φοβερό χαμόγελο. Θεωρώ ότι την ταυτίζω λίγο με τη Μελίνα Μερκούρη, είναι λίγο τρελό, της το λέω, αλλά έχει αυτή την ενέργεια της Μελίνας, ας πούμε, και αυτό το έξω καρδιά. Η Μαρία Λόι δεν ξέρω τώρα πώς πρέπει να τη δείξω, να τη διαφημίσω.
Έτσι θα τη δείξεις,
Καλά την κάνω, Μαράκι, βλέπεις τη φωτογραφία, το χαμόγελό σου,
Λοιπόν, θα πάμε στο αστέα, θα πάμε τώρα να μας... Καλά, έχει τόσες συνταγές, δεν ξέρω με τι θα πάμε να μάθουμε λίγο τα μυστικά της Μαρία Λόι, στο εστιατόριό της που έχει κάνει στο West Side και είναι πάρα πολύ επιτυχημένη. Και μας φιλοξενεί συνέχεια.
Και δεν παχαίνουμε, γιατί η Μαρία, πέρα από πολύ νόστιμες συνταγές, κάνει και κάτι άλλο. Τα υλικά του φαγητού της είναι τόσο καλά που όχι μόνο δεν παχαίνεις, αλλά ο συνδυασμός σου κάνει καλό και στην πέψη και σου φτιάχνει και τη διάθεση. Ναι. Πέρα από το ότι η ίδια είναι πολύ αυθόρμητη, αγκαλιάζει, μιλάει, τον κάνει τον άλλον να νιώθει ότι είναι στο σπίτι του με τη μαμά του ή με τη φίλη του. Ο συνδυασμός αυτών των τροφών κάνει καλό και στον οργανισμό. Αυτό δεν βγαίνει προς τα έξω. Αλλά ξέρω, γιατί μου δίνει συμβουλές. Μου λέει: μη συνδυάζεις αυτή την τροφή με αυτή. Γιατί θα σου δημιουργήσει στομαχόπονο ή δεν θα κάνει καλό. Είναι φανταστικός άνθρωπος. Πραγματικά δηλαδή ήδη έχει πετύχει και της εύχομαι αυτό να συνεχιστεί για πάντα.
στιγμή που ποτέ δεν περίμενα. Μια σύλλαβή σου κι όλα μοιάζουν εφήμερα. Σήμερα θέλω να σε γνωρίσω σίγουρα. Μα δεν ξέρω που είμαι και δεν θυμάμαι που ήμουνα. Κάθε τραγούδι μάλλον μιλάει σε μένα.
And now we're going to get into the Greek Christmas spirit with the Greek hip-hop band Nevma. Let's welcome Vangelis Serifis, known as DJ Rico, Nikos Pavlidis, known as Isoropistis, which we're going to baptize today, the Energizer, and Stathi Telioudi, known as the Alchemistis, which of course translates into alchemist. Guys, welcome to New York. Welcome to New Greek Television.
Thanks for having us over here. Thank you.
We're very excited because you're a Greek hip-hop band, and hip-hop is becoming very big in Greece. And the Greek Americans have welcomed you to the United States. You had a huge audience. You had a great show. And Vangeli, I want you to tell me how you guys got together. Tell me about Nevma.
Okay, we got together like the group was not always like is like with this lineup. It's a 20-year making process, but we've been like that since 2009. We've been doing really good. We have like hits, major hits on the radio, like award shows. We've been everywhere. We've completed most of our dreams, and this is one of them. Like coming over here.
Wow, you've completed your dreams at this age. We should all be.
Well, we're not kids anymore.
I think your dream is just starting. I think you guys are just starting.
Yeah, we have a lot of goals. We have a lot of places to go anymore.
So hip hop. Let's talk about hip hop in Greece. I mean, how does the Greek audience and how does Greece embrace hip hop, Nico?
Τώρα σώθηκες.
Καλά, σώθηκα. Πες μου για την Ελλάδα. Οι Έλληνες πώς αντιμετωπίζουν το hip-hop στην Ελλάδα, δηλαδή
κοίταξε, πλέον,
πώς το αγκαλιάσανε σαν...
Πλέον το έχουν αγκαλιάσει πλέον οι Έλληνες στην Ελλάδα και εδώ πέρα το έχουν αγκαλιάσει. Δηλαδή είδαμε τον κόσμο, είδαμε πράγματα τα οποία μας συγκίνησαν πάρα πολύ. Όλοι θέλανε μια φωτογραφία, όλοι θέλανε να κάτσουν να μιλήσουν λίγο μαζί μας, να μας ρωτήσουν για την Ελλάδα, τι κάνει η Ελλάδα. Είναι πολύ ωραία συναισθήματα.
Ναι. Στάθη, πες μου, εσύ πώς ξεκίνησες με hip-hop? Ήσουνα τραγουδούσες και έτσι απλά ταυτίστηκες καλύτερα με το hip-hop, ήταν κάτι που σε άγγιζε πιο πολύ?
Όχι, ξεκίνησα σαν ακροατής όπως όλοι νομίζω, δηλαδή στα 13-14 χρονών ξεκίνησα να ακούω αυτή τη μουσική, να την αγαπάω πάρα πολύ και στη συνέχεια μου βγήκε η ανάγκη να εκφραστώ μέσα από αυτήν. Έκανα κάποια πράγματα, είχα ένα συγκρότημα άλλο, δισκογράφησα με ένα άλλο συγκρότημα τέλος πάντων και μετά το 2009, από το 2009 και μετά ξεκίνησε μια καινούργια σελίδα στην καριέρα μου και είμαι με τα παιδιά και συνεχίζουμε ακάθεκτη.
Βαγγέλη, το hip-hop στην Ελλάδα είναι δύσκολο να βρεις καλλιτέχνες για να κάνετε ένα συγκρότημα, έτσι δεν είναι? Τώρα το γυρίσουμε στα ελληνικά, αλλά δεν πειράζει.
Όχι πια. Τώρα τα περισσότερα τα πιτσιρίκια κάτω από 18-17 χρονών πιο εύκολα ασχολούνται με το rap, δηλαδή να κάνουν rap και λιγότερο με το τραγούδι, γιατί είναι πολύ πιο εύκολο, είναι πιο άμεσο. Στο τραγούδι πρέπει να έχει ταλέντο. Πρέπει να τραγουδάς, να πιάσει μια νότα. Στο rap θεωρούν ότι άμα βάλω και ταιριάξω το 5-6 λέξεις, είναι πάρα πολύ εύκολο να το κάνω, να το πετύχω. Και γενικότερα η όλη άβρα που βγάζει ο MC, το ντύσιμο, το στυλ, όλο αυτό αρέσει πάρα πολύ και στα αγόρια και στα κορίτσια όσο περνάει ο καιρός. Αλλά πιο παλιά στη δική μου την εποχή ήταν πάρα πολύ δύσκολο. Στη δική μου την εποχή, όταν γνώρισα τον Νίκο και βρήκα έναν άνθρωπο που ακούει hip hop, πανηγυρίζαμε ένας με τον άλλον. Δηλαδή, μιλάμε 20 χρόνια πριν.
Wow.
20, πανηγυρίζαμε, λέγανε να βρήκα και έναν άλλον.
Ποιο ήταν ο είδωλός σου στο rap?
Επειδή εγώ δεν κάνω rap, είμαι DJ, παραγωγούς παρακολουθούσα, αλλά πάντοτε με ενθουσίαζαν διάφοροι rap καλλιτέχνες. Παλιότερα ήταν ο Ντρος B.I.G., ο Jay-Z, ο Nas, αυτοί δηλαδή περισσότερο στη δεκαετία του 90, αλλά και πιο παλιά που ακούγαμε Public Enemy, ακούγαμε Eric B, Smooth, αυτά ακούγαμε πάρα πολύ πιο.
Εγώ μεγάλωσα με τους Wu-Tang.
Πιο καινούρια γενιά.
Όχι, εντάξει, η Wu-Tang δεν είναι καινούρια, απλά επειδή εγώ το πιάσα το hip-hop από το 96-97 και μετά.
Είναι από τις άλλες που λέμε.
Είναι λίγο πιο μετά, δηλαδή τα παιδιά πιάσανε και τα late 80s, ξέρω εγώ είμαι mid-90s και πέρα.
Ναι. Παρόλο που λέτε ότι έχετε δυσκολία με την γλώσσα, έχετε κάνει πάρα πολλά τραγούδια και με αγγλικά και με γαλλικά και τώρα το πρώτο rap τραγούδι με όπερα. Πες μας γι' αυτό, Νικό.
Ναι, κάναμε... Τέλος πάντων, στο εξωτερικό έχει γίνει πριν κάμποσα χρόνια αυτό, το πάντρεμα hip-hop με όπερα. Αλλά στην Ελλάδα νομίζω ότι είμαστε πρωτοπόροι σε αυτό το πράγμα. Και πίστεψέ με, εμείς μεταξύ μας δεν το σκεφτήκαμε και καθόλου ως πω τι πάμε να κάνουμε τώρα. Το θέλαμε πάρα πολύ. Θεωρούμε ότι η ποιότητα του κομματιού αυτού άγγιξε πάρα πολύ κόσμο.
Μιλάμε για το κομμάτι Νύχτα Αστεριών. Η συνεργασία μας είναι με την Κάτια Πάσχου. Είναι μια σοπράνο, μια φτασμένη καλλιτέχνηδα.
Έχει έρθει και εδώ στη Νέα Υόρκη.
Ήταν 5 χρόνια στη Νέα Υόρκη εδώ, έχει σπουδάσει εδώ πέρα και μάλιστα έμενε και στην περιοχή που είμαστε αυτή τη στιγμή.
Ναι.
Μάλιστα, και το κυκλοφορήσαμε το κομμάτι, είχε από τη Heaven Music. Στον κόσμο έχει εντυπωσιάσει πάρα πολύ. Το βίντεο κλιπ του σκηνοθέτη ο Γιάννης Παπαδάκος. Και νομίζω ότι ποιοτικά τουλάχιστον είναι ό,τι καλύτερο έχουμε κάνει όλα αυτά τα χρόνια. Αυτό δηλαδή ήταν κάτι το οποίο το σκεφτόμασταν πάρα πολύ παλιά. Ο καθένας ξεχωριστά πριν από 5, 10, 15 χρόνια και ήρθε η στιγμή δηλαδή που το ολοκληρώσαμε. Το ρεφρέν στα γαλλικά. Ναι. Το κομμάτι μιλάει για την ελευθερία. Τώρα προφανώς είναι στα ελληνικά. Και μπορούν να το βρουν όλοι οι φίλοι μας και στα sites και στο.
Nuit d'étoile.
Νύχτα αστεριών.
Λοιπόν, look out for that, guys. Βαγγέλη, εσύ που είσαι DJ και είσαι DJ από 15 χρονών, πες μου πώς έχει αλλάξει το DJ. Έχετε γίνει superstar τώρα οι DJs.
Ναι, αλλά έχει αλλάξει όμως. Όπως είπες, έχει αλλάξει πάρα πολύ. Δηλαδή, παλιότερα, καταρχήν δουλεύαμε με βινίλια, μετά με CD, τώρα όλοι δουλεύουν με υπολογιστές. Εγώ συνεχίζω να δουλεύω με CD. Δεύτερον, παλιότερα ο DJ έβαζε λεφτά. Έπρεπε να ψάξει, να βρει δίσκους, να βρει CD, να αγοράσει. Δηλαδή, μία ή άλλη. Όσα βγάζαμε, τα δίναμε. Τώρα με το ίντερνετ, ακόμα και ένας οποιοδήποτε άνθρωπος να ασχοληθεί λίγο, μπορεί πάρα πολύ εύκολα να κατεβάσει τραγούδια, να φτιάξει τις δικές του μίξεις και να παρουσιάσει ένα τελείως διαφορετικό σετ.
Και να βάλει και το κομπιούτερ να
τα μιξάρει.
Δηλαδή, μόνα του.
Ναι, δηλαδή, φαντάσου, ξέρω εγώ,
τι θα γίνει αύριο.
Σαν τη μαγειρική, ξέρω εγώ, ένα πράγμα που. Δηλαδή, υπάρχει δημιουργικότητα, αλλά έχει μειωθεί. Και ποιοτικά δηλαδή όλη η διαδικασία έχει πέσει. Οι star DJs είναι πλέον στην dance μουσική. Στη hip hop οι DJs παραδοσιακά είναι λίγο ακροβάτες. Πρέπει δηλαδή να δείχνουν μια γενικότερη ικανότητα. Τώρα τι να σου πω, εγώ συνεχίζω να είμαι ρομαντικός, να πιστεύω δηλαδή στη δυνατότητα που πρέπει να έχει ο DJ σαν selector, δηλαδή σαν επιλογή κομματιών και λιγότερο σαν technical skills ή ξέρω εγώ πόσο γρήγορα και πόσο καλά μπορεί να αλλάζει τα τραγούδια. Πάντως ακόμα και σήμερα είναι δύσκολη δουλειά, δηλαδή είναι όσο περισσότερο. Δηλαδή, οποιοδήποτε μπορεί να παρουσιάσει τον εαυτό του DJ στις μέρες μας. Αλλά
οι Έλληνες οι DJ για κάποιο λόγο έχουν παγκόσμια φήμη. Δηλαδή και το nightlife της Ελλάδας και τα μουσικά music productions.
Και γενικότερα και οι ξένοι DJs και κυρίως και οι dance DJs έχουν σαν στόχο δηλαδή την Ελλάδα να έρθουν να παίξουν, γιατί εντάξει, το ελληνικό κοινό κάνει πάρτι πάρα πολύ πιο εύκολα, τουλάχιστον μέχρι πρόσφατα. Πάντως αυτό που θέλω να σου πω είναι ότι εγώ προτιμούσα την εποχή που όταν βρίσκαμε ένα κομμάτι, το είχαν πάρα πολύ λίγοι γιατί είχαν ψάξει, είχαν ασχοληθεί, είχαν δώσει λεφτά και το είχαν, παρά τώρα που την πρώτη φορά που θα βάλει κάποιος ένα τραγούδι μέσα σε ένα μαγαζί και θα γίνει ένας χαμός, θα έχουν σηκωθεί 10 κινητά, θα έχουν βάλει το Shazam,
θα έχουν
κατεβάσει και έχει τελειώσει εκεί η υπόθεση και μετά αυτό και από την αρχή. Δηλαδή δεν έχει καθόλου μαγεία ή καθόλου αγωνία το όλο θέμα.
Θέλω να μάθω γιατί σε φωνάζουν τον αλχημιστής.
Να, εσένα λέει.
Εντάξει, τα παρατσούκλια αυτά είναι τώρα από το 15 χρονών που το είχα βγάλει. Είχα διαβάσει το βιβλίο, λίγο το συνδύασα με την αθανασία και το ελιξίριο της ζωής, ας πούμε, που ψάχνανε οι αλχημιστές και λέω αυτό είναι, δηλαδή η μουσική πάντα θα μένει, ό,τι και να γίνει, οι στίχοι μου πάντα θα μένουν, θα ζουνε για μια ζωή, ας πούμε. Και έτσι το κράτησα και το συνεχίζω μέχρι και τώρα.
And Νίκο, ισορροπιστής, The Equalizer.
Θα σου πω εγώ.
Έλα, πες μου, γιατί δεν μιλάει για τον αυτό τον
Ήρθε ένα απόγευμα σπίτι το 1996.
The Equalizer or the Neutralizer, πλάκα.
Ο ισορροπιστής ήθελε το 1996 και λέει «Γεια σας, θα με φωνάζετε έτσι, αυτό είναι, μην ρωτήσετε γιατί» και τελείωσε.
Μπράβο. Παιδιά, συγχαρητήρια για όλα που κάνετε. Πώς σας φάνηκε η ομογένεια? Ο ελληνισμός εδώ, πώς σας φαίνεται? Διαφορετικός είναι?
Είναι ωραίο να βλέπεις τον κόσμο να διψάει για ελληνικό live. Ελληνικό live performance.
Γενικότερα, εντάξει, στη διάρκεια της συναυλίας μας ένωσε η μουσική. Δηλαδή, ειδικότερα η hip hop μουσική δεν υπάρχει διαφορετικότητα στη hip hop μουσική εκ γεννητής. Οπότε γίναμε ένα με τον κόσμο και περάσαμε πάρα πολύ ωραία.
Πού μπορεί κανείς να βρει τη μουσική σας, Βαγγέλη?
Παντού. Αυτή τη στιγμή μπορεί να τη βρείτε και κυκλοφορούν και ακόμα και CD από την εποχή που έχουμε βγάλει. Το πιο εύκολο είναι τα digital singles, τα οποία τα βρίσκουμε στα iTunes, στο Napster, στο Spotify, σε όλες τις ψηφιακές πλατφόρμες. Έχουμε ένα πολύ ωραίο site που λέγεται nevmamusic.com, στο οποίο μπορούν να βρουν σπάνια κομμάτια μας, συνεργασίες που έχουμε κάνει, mixtapes, street albums, όλα είναι εκεί πέρα. Και βέβαια και στο Facebook και στο κανάλι μας στο YouTube υπάρχουν, δηλαδή η μουσική μας είναι παντού, δηλαδή εξέλικτο. Και έχει και βιντεάκια από συναυλίες, από διάφορες εμφανίσεις μας σε μουσικά βραβεία, σε τηλεοπτικές εμφανίσεις.
Τα βίντεο κλιπ μας στο YouTube.
Έχουμε κανάλι
YouTube, where else? YouTube, Nevma. Look up Nevma, you're going to see YouTube. A message for our viewers. Η μουσική σας έχει ελπίδα και θέλω να μας δώσετε ένα μήνυμα για τα Χριστούγεννα, για ελπίδα και για την Ελλάδα και για όλους τους Έλληνες σε όλο τον κόσμο.
Εγώ το μήνυμα που θέλω να δώσω στον κόσμο για τα Χριστούγεννα είναι ότι πάντοτε στις γιορτές είναι μια ευκαιρία να σκεφτόμαστε περισσότερο τους άλλους και όχι να σκεφτόμαστε τους εαυτούς μας. Και αυτό που έχει να κάνει με τους άλλους είναι το ότι να σκεφτόμαστε τι μπορούμε να κάνουμε για να τους κάνουμε τη ζωή καλύτερη, όχι περιστασιακά, δηλαδή μόνο την εποχή των Χριστουγέννων να τους δώσουμε κάτι και να γίνει για αυτό το 15ήμερο λίγο πιο καλή ζωή τους, αλλά γενικότερα σε όλο το μέλλον.
Εγώ να πω υγεία και ευτυχία σε όλους τους Έλληνες και να γυρίσουν όλοι στην Ελλάδα.
Εγώ αγαπάω την Ελλάδα, μου αρέσει πάρα πολύ και είναι δεύτερο σπίτι μου.
Να γυρίσουν πίσω όλοι.
Όλοι, πάμε πίσω!
Να έχουν την υγεία τους πάνω απ' όλα και επειδή εμείς προσωπικά είμαστε σε μια περίοδο στην οποία παρόλες τις δύσκολες καταστάσεις που υπάρχουν στη χώρα μας καταφέρνουμε και πραγματοποιούμε κάποια όνειρά μας, είτε μικρά είτε μεγάλα, θέλω να πω στους ακροατές μας να συνεχίζουν να ονειρεύονται ό,τι και να γίνει.
Εμείς σας ευχόμαστε ό,τι ονειρεύεστε και ό,τι θέλετε να κάνετε στη ζωή σας και στην καριέρα σας να το έχετε.
Ευχαριστούμε πάρα πολύ.
Συγχαρητήρια για όλα που κάνετε και you know, represent the Greeks. And good luck with everything you do. Watch out for Nevma. Look them up online. They've got great stuff coming out. Support the Greek hip hop band. And thank you so much for being here.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Gianni Kalimera has come to be known as one of the most successful Greek media executives of our time. Having pioneered as a media executive in the launch of private television companies in Greece, Gianni Kalimeris was a big part of the success, history, and continuation of Hellenic broadcasting. We're very honored to have with us on New Greek TV, Mr. Gianni Kalimeris. Gianni, welcome to New York.
Ευχαριστώ πολύ. It's very nice to be here.
Χαιρόμαστε πάρα πολύ που έχεις έρθει στο κανάλι.
Δική μου τιμή.
Ξέρεις ότι σε έχω στη ιδιαίτερη εκτίμηση, είσαι τρομερός άνθρωπος. Έχω παρακολουθήσει όλη την καριέρα σου και μιλάς άψογα αγγλικά, αλλά για αυτή την εκπομπή θα μιλήσουμε στα ελληνικά. Ήσουν μέρος στο ξεκίνημα της ιδιωτικής ελληνικής τηλεόρασης. Πες μας λίγο για αυτές τις εποχές και πόσο δύσκολα είναι να ανεβάσεις ένα κανάλι.
Τότε δεν φαινόταν δύσκολο. Τώρα που το σκέφτομαι προς τα πίσω.
Λες πώς το έκανα.
Πώς έγινε αυτό το πράγμα. Όχι μόνο εγώ, όλοι μας, γιατί κανένας δεν ήξερε τηλεόραση. Αν εξαιρέσει τον Νίκο Μαστοράκη, ο οποίος ασχολήθηκε με τον Αντένα, όλοι οι υπόλοιποι ήμασταν από άλλους χώρους. Καλά, εγώ έχω σπουδάσει media, αλλά αυτό δεν έχει καμιά σχέση. Δηλαδή, άλλο να έχεις δουλέψει και άλλο. Δεν μας φάνηκε δύσκολο. Στην αρχή μας φάνηκε άγνωστο, αλλά επειδή ξέρεις, έπρεπε να του βγάλουμε το κανάλι στον αέρα. Κάναμε shortcuts, ξέρεις, κόψαμε δρόμο. Και
ας δοκιμάσουμε αυτό, δοκιμάσουμε.
Ναι, και επειδή δεν φοβόμασταν, είχαμε άγνοια κινδύνου, δεν ξέραμε τι σημαίνει ανταγωνισμός, ξέρεις, τα ratings. Το κάναμε και το κάναμε καλά, νομίζω, εκ του αποτελέσματος και περάσαμε και πάρα πολύ ωραία. Ήταν αυτά τα χρόνια της αθωότητας για την τηλεόραση.
Και βρήκατε πολλά, πού να βρείτε μάλλον τα ταλέντα, γιατί κανένας δεν είχε σπουδάσει τότε, όπως είπες, τηλεόραση. Πού βρίσκατε το προσωπικό και τους παρουσιαστές.
Παρουσιαστές ήταν λίγο πιο εύκολο, γιατί υπήρχε κάτι από την ΕΡΤ οπωσδήποτε. Δηλαδή υπήρχε η Γιάννα Κανέλη, υπήρχαν κάποια γνωστά ονόματα, ο Τέρενς Κουίκ στον Αντένα. Τα στελέχη ήταν πιο δύσκολο. Δηλαδή παίρναμε κάποιον ο οποίος είχε τελειώσει λογιστής και τον βάζαμε υπεύθυνο για το library. Δηλαδή, κάναμε innovations. Γιατί, ας πούμε, κανένας δεν σπουδάζει διευθυντής προγράμματος. Δημοσιογράφους, βάλαμε διευθυντή ειδήσεων τον Ιάσονα Μοσχοβίτη, ο οποίος ήξερε από τηλεόραση, αλλά δεν είναι από το φόρτο του η τηλεόραση. Γενικά, μάθαμε όλοι πάρα πολύ γρήγορα. Αναγκαστικά.
Ο Έλληνας το έχει αυτό. Μπορεί να τα πιάσει πολύ γρήγορα τα πράγματα.
We adapt.
Την από τεράστια καριέρα πέρασες από όλα τα κανάλια. Πες μας κάποιες στιγμές που θυμάσαι, καλές και κάποιες κακές.
Οι καλές ευτυχώς είναι πολύ περισσότερες από τις κακές. Οι κακές, για να το βγάλω και γρήγορα, ήταν όταν έφευγα από κανάλια και όταν έφευγα με κακούς όρους. Εκεί ήταν, αν θες, τα δυσάρεστα τα οποία θυμάμαι. Έχω κατά καιρούς αδικήσει και μερικούς ανθρώπους, γιατί ξέρεις, όταν διοικείς, αναγκαστικά αδικείς. Γιατί πρέπει να επιλέξεις μεταξύ δύο ανθρώπων, αυτών των οποίων δεν επιλέγεις, στο μυαλό των αδικείς. Αγωνίες μεγάλες έχω περάσει, άγρυπνες νύχτες πολλές. Αλλά οι χαρές που σου δίνει αυτή η δουλειά, δεν νομίζω ότι υπάρχει άλλη δουλειά που να στη δίνει. Δηλαδή, το να πάρεις ένα λευκό χαρτί και από το λευκό χαρτί να κάνεις ένα serial, ένα show, ειδήσεις, πρωινή εκπομπή, Η ικανοποίηση που σου δίνει αυτό το πράγμα δεν σου δίνει καμία άλλη δουλειά. Και βέβαια είσαι και συνέχεια στην πρώτη γραμμή. Δεν ησυχάζεις. Συνέχεια δουλεύεις. Ακόμα και όταν είσαι στο σπίτι, δουλεύεις. Ακόμα και όταν βλέπεις τηλεόραση, δουλεύεις.
Όταν επιλέγατε να κάνετε και να δημιουργήσετε προγράμματα και σύριαλ και τέτοια, ποια προγράμματα από όλα αυτά που έχετε δημιουργήσει έχουν μείνει στην ιστορία και ποια θα έκανες ξανά παραγωγή?
Και ήταν πάρα πολλοί τίτλοι εκπομπών, από ενημερωτικές εκπομπές μέχρι σειρές, μέχρι shows κτλ. Πιστεύω ότι οι σειρές οι οποίες έχουν αφήσει εποχή, οι Τρεις Χάριτες, η Αυθαίρετη, απαράδεκτη, η 10 Μικρή Μίτσι, μπορώ να πω πάρα πολλές σειρές, δραματικές και κωμικές, παίζονται ακόμα. Οι κωμικές σειρές πιο εύκολα, είναι πιο εύκολο να επαναλάβεις κωμικές σειρές. Νομίζω ότι θα μπορούσε το Μέγας, για παράδειγμα, να κάνει ξανά τις Τρεις Χάριτες, νεότερες κοπέλες.
Ναι.
Πώς έκανε, ξέρω εγώ, πώς έγιναν τώρα το Girls. Παλιά είχε γίνει το Sex and the City, τώρα έγινε το Girls με πιο νέα, λίγο διαφορετικού background κορίτσια. Θα μπορούσε οι Τρεις Χάριτες να ξαναγίνουν. Η Αυθαίρετη ήταν πιο πολύ οι προσωπικότητες των 4 πρωταγωνιστών. Ήταν ο Μπέζος, ήταν ο Παπαδόπουλος, ο Μπονάτσος, ήταν η Δημητρούλα, η Παπαδοπούλου. Και ήταν πολλοί οι προσωπικότητες τους. Αυτό δεν ξαναγίνεται. Οι Τρεις Χάριτες ήταν με πολύ μεγάλες προσωπικότητες οι πρωταγωνίστριες του, αλλά ήταν ρόλοι. Και καλά γραμμένοι ρόλοι. Δηλαδή ρόλοι οι οποίοι μπορούν να ξαναπαιχτούν. Το είχαν γράψει η Ρέπαψη Παπαθανασίου. Οι δραματικές σειρές είναι δύσκολο. Την Αναστασία, ας πούμε, δεν μπορεί να την ξανακάνει. Είναι πολύ δύσκολο. Αλλά είναι αρκετές σειρές τις οποίες πιστεύω ότι θα άξιζε το κόπο το Μέγκα, που τις έχει ο Αντένα πιο πρόσφατα να κάνει, όχι repeat, να τις κάνει με νέους τοπίους, reproduce, ναι.
Πολύ ταλέντο στην Ελλάδα.
Κοίτα, believe it or not, πιστεύω ότι υποκριτικά είμαστε πολύ καλά. Ηθοποιούς δηλαδή έχουμε. Και αν δεν υπήρχε το barrier of the language, πιστεύω ότι οι Έλληνες ηθοποιοί θα μπορούσαν να κάνουν εύκολα καριέρα στο εξωτερικό. Απλώς η γλώσσα είναι πολύ περιοριστική και αυτό είναι που περιορίζει, αν θέλεις, και το ελληνικό σινεμά από το να ταξιδέψει στο internationally. Εκεί που έχουμε κάποιο πρόβλημα είναι σεναριογράφους. Δεν έχουμε σεναριογράφους στην Ελλάδα. Σκηνοθέτες, η νέα γενιά των σκηνοθετών, κατά τη γνώμη μου, μπορεί να δουλέψει οπουδήποτε στον κόσμο. Έχουμε εξαιρετικούς διευθυντές φωτογραφίας. Πιστεύω ότι οι Έλληνες διευθυντές φωτογραφίας είναι ό,τι καλύτερο υπάρχει από το ελληνικό σινεμά σε σχέση με το εξωτερικό. Δηλαδή μπορούν εύκολα να ταξιδέψουν και ταξιδεύουν.
Ταξιδεύουν και κάνουν και ταινίες.
Γενικά υπάρχει για μια χώρα τόσο μικρή όσο η Ελλάδα, υπάρχει ταλέντο. Απλώς είναι μικρή η χώρα για να μπορεί να συντηρήσει πρωτογενώς το σινεμά. Δηλαδή, τώρα κάνεις μια ταινία και δεν έχεις μια χώρα σαν την Ισπανία που είναι 50-60 εκατομμύρια, όπου έχεις κάποια έσοδα από τη χώρα σου και μετά περιμένεις να δεις τι μπορεί να κάνεις στο εξωτερικό. Η Ελλάδα είναι 10 εκατομμύρια.
Θεωρείς ότι τα χρήματα που δαπανηθήκαν για παραγωγές στην Ελλάδα ήταν σωστές επιλογές?
Εκ του αποτελέσματος προφανώς όχι. Δηλαδή, και ο αριθμός των εκπομπών που κάναμε παραγωγή τότε και τα λεφτά που πληρώναμε για κάθε σειρά ή εκπομπή show, game show, δεν έχει σημασία, ήταν εκ του αποτελέσματος, ξαναλέω, πολλά. Ενδεικτικά αναφέρω ότι η διαφημιστική δαπάνη, το συνολικό έσοδο δηλαδή των καναλιών το 2007 ήταν περί τα 800 εκατομμύρια ευρώ, πολύ λιγότερο, δεν θυμάμαι ακριβώς το νούμερο, και τώρα θα πέσει κάτω από τα 200 εκατομμύρια. Αυτό σημαίνει ότι οι ιδιοκτήτες των καναλιών θα πρέπει να προσαρμοστούν σε ένα πολύ μεγάλη πτώση μέσα σε πολύ μικρό χρονικό διάστημα των εσόδων τους. Είναι πολύ δύσκολο να προσαρμόσουν τα έξοδά τους σε τόσο μεγάλη πτώση, σε τόσο μικρό χρόνο, όπως είπα.
Σαν τηλεθεατής, εσύ, επειδή είσαι της τηλεόρασης και κρίνεις πιο σκληρά, τι σου αρέσει και τι δεν σου αρέσει?
Και τα προσωπικά μου τα γούστα δεν έχουν πολύ μεγάλη σχέση με αυτά τα οποία εγώ παράγω σαν άνθρωπος στη τηλεόραση. Γιατί όταν διοικείς το πρόγραμμα ενός καναλιού, ένα κανάλι, προσπαθείς να μαντέψεις, να ερμηνεύσεις, να φανταστείς τι θέλουν να δουν οι τηλεθεατές. Εάν περιορίσεις...
Η μάζα τηλεθεατών.
Ναι. Αν περιορίσεις τις επιλογές αυτά τα οποία εσύ θες, πιθανότατα θα το χάσεις το τρένο. Γιατί εγώ, για παράδειγμα, βλέπω πάρα πολύ ντοκιμαντέρ. Βλέπω spots, Βλέπω ταινίες. Βλέπω ειδήσεις και τελείωσε. Δεν βλέπω σειρές, δεν βλέπω shows, δεν βλέπω πρωινά, δεν βλέπω απογευματινά. Δεν τα βλέπω αυτά τα πράγματα. Και παρόλο που είναι πολλοί φίλοι μου που δουλεύουν σε αυτά τα είδη προγράμματος, εγώ δεν τα βλέπω. Αν έκανα λοιπόν πρόγραμμα με βάση μόνο αυτά που μου αρέσουν, μόνο αυτά τα βλέπω.
Το κανάλι του Τζόνι Καλιμέρη. Μόνο ντοκιματέρ και σπορτς.
Θα είχε και σάτυρα, ας πούμε ότι θα είχε και σάτυρα. Γι' αυτό λοιπόν.
Να μάθουμε και εσύ τι σου αρέσει σαν media expert.
Σου λέω, προσπαθώ πάντα να μαντέψω μαζί με την ομάδα, πάντα γιατί είναι ομαδική δουλειά. Έτσι, στο τέλος την απόφαση την παίρνει ένας, αλλά η διαδικασία είναι ομαδική. Πάντα προσπαθείς να μαζέψεις, να μαντέψεις τι θέλει να δει ο κόσμος. Και προσπαθείς, βλέποντας τι παίζουν όλοι, να κάνεις και σωστό προγραμματισμό. Δηλαδή να μπορέσεις να μην στερήσεις από τον κόσμο μια πολύ καλή σειρά η οποία θα έχει την ατυχία να παίζει απέναντι από ένα αγώνα Champions League, ας πούμε. Δεν θυσιάζεις την πολύ καλή σειρά σου απέναντι στο Champions League, γιατί εκεί πέρα θα αναγκάσεις την οικογένεια να διχαστεί. Κατάλαβες. Οι γυναίκες θα δουν τη σειρά, οι άντρες θα δουν και θα τσακώνονται. Οπότε ή θα έχουν 2-3 τηλεοράσεις.
Και έτσι πρέπει να είναι, 2 τηλεοράσεις σε 2 δωμάτια και όλοι θα είναι ευχαριστημένοι. Ταξιδεύεις πάρα πολύ, Τζόνι. Θα έμενες ποτέ στην Αμερική, θα έκανες καριέρα στη τηλεόραση εδώ?
Θα έμενα πάρα πολύ εύκολα στην Αμερική, πάρα πολύ εύκολα στη Νέα Υόρκη θα έμενα. Μ' αρέσει πάρα πολύ αυτή. Πολύ πιστεύω απόλυτα ότι if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. Τη γνώρισα πρόσφατα τη Νέα Υόρκη, είχα έρθει πριν πάρα πολλά χρόνια, αλλά τη γνώρισα σε επίπεδο καθημερινότητας πολύ πρόσφατα. Δηλαδή πριν από 7-8 χρόνια, σε επίπεδο καθημερινότητας. Δηλαδή να πας στο μπακάλι, στο μανάβι, να πας στο εστιατόριο να φας. Δηλαδή οδηγάω μοτοσυκλέτα, οδηγάω αυτοκίνητο. Είμαι very much at home όποτε είμαι στην Νέα Υόρκη. Θα ζούσα πολύ εύκολα. Δηλαδή, και το έχω συζητήσει και με τη γυναίκα μου αρκετές φορές. Απλώς είμαστε τόσο βαθιά χωμένοι στην ελληνική μας καθημερινότητα, σχολεία, οικογένεια, αθλητικά, τα παιδιά μας, όλο το. Είναι το πακέτο είναι δύσκολο να μετακινηθεί από.
Τα παιδιά σου όμως θα προτίμησες να έρθουν στο πανεπιστήμιο στην Αμερική, μάλλον.
Και δεν θα το αλλάζαμε τίποτα. Δηλαδή, εκτός το σύστημα της εκπαίδευσης της Αμερικής, δεν το συγκρίνω με τίποτα άλλο, είναι και το σύνολο των εμπειριών που θα πάρουν τα παιδιά μου ζώντας στην Αμερική. Δεν είναι μόνο τα μαθήματα, οι τάξεις, τα βιβλία, είναι και όλο το. Αυτό δεν το αλλάζουμε τίποτα. Δηλαδή, σου ανοίγει τόσο πολύ το μυαλό, που όταν μετά έρθουν στην Ελλάδα, που θα ήθελα πάρα πολύ για κάποια τουλάχιστον χρόνια να δουλέψουν στην Αμερική, πιστεύω ότι θα έρθουν στην Ελλάδα, θα έχουν αυτό το εύρος των γνώσεων και εμπειριών και προσλαμβάνωσεων, έτσι ώστε να κάνουν πραγματικά καλά αυτό το οποίο θα διαλέξουν.
Και εσύ πιστεύω ότι σαν πρότυπο για τα παιδιά σου θα τους δώσει τη δύναμη να μπορέσουν όπου και να είναι στον κόσμο να είναι επιτυχημένα. Προτείνεις λοιπόν σε όσοι Έλληνες μπορούν στις οικογένειές τους, δηλαδή να φέρουν τα παιδιά τους στο εξωτερικό, να σπουδάσουν και να δουλέψουν για λίγο ώρα, το προτείνεις αυτό για το μέλλον της Ελλάδας, να επιστρέψουν τα παιδιά πίσω μετά από μια εμπειρία στο εξωτερικό? Θα κάνει την Ελλάδα αυτό καλύτερα?
Απόλυτα. Το πιστεύω απόλυτα. Πιστεύω ότι αν μπορούν τα παιδιά μας να δουλέψουν κάποια χρόνια στο εξωτερικό, οπουδήποτε στο εξωτερικό, και μετά να επιστρέψουν στην Ελλάδα, αυτή η εισαγωγή εμπειριών, γνώσεων, παραστάσεων θα τους βοηθήσει πάρα πολύ στην δουλειά τους στην Ελλάδα και θα βοηθήσει πάρα πολύ και τη χώρα.
Στην νοοτροπία. Θα έκανες ποτέ εκπομπή σαν παρουσιαστή?
Με έχουν ερωτήσει πολλές φορές γι' αυτό, αν θα συμμετείχα σε κάποιο show, αν θα έκανα εκπομπή. Όχι. Δεν θα έκανα γιατί πιστεύω ότι είμαι καλός τέλεχος. Είμαι καλός μάνατζερ.
Παρουσιαστής είσαι καλός, ωραία τα λες.
Δεν είμαι πολύ καλός παρουσιαστής. Είσαι πολύ καλύτερη παρουσιάστρια από μένα, καταλάβες. Οπότε θα έπρεπε να είμαι λίγο διευθυντής του εαυτού μου. Και επειδή ο καθένας έχει κάποια μοναδικότητα, εγώ πιστεύω ότι η δική μοναδικότητα είναι να κάνω το management του προγράμματος. Πιστεύω ότι είμαι καλύτερος σε αυτό. Θα μπορούσες να το κάνω, αλλά είναι άλλη καριέρα.
Άλλη καριέρα. Και κλείνοντας, τι θα έκανες που δεν έχεις κάνει σήμερα?
Θα ήθελα, αν το επέτρεπε η οικονομική κατάσταση της χώρας και η προσωπική μου, έτσι, να φτιάξω έναν σταθμό ακριβώς όπως τον θέλω εγώ, χωρίς να συμβιβαστώ, χωρίς να υποχωρήσω, να το κάνω ακριβώς όπως τον θέλω εγώ. Και τις ειδήσεις του και τις... αλλά αυτό δεν θα γίνει ποτέ.
Γιατί μη το λες?
Γιατί είναι τόσο δύσκολα τα πράγματα για τα media στην Ελλάδα, Γιάννα, που πιστεύω ότι θα περάσουν πολλά χρόνια για να ορθοποδήσει ο χώρος αυτός. Και δεν έχω πολλά χρόνια, ξέρεις. Αν ήμουνα 30 χρονών, ίσως θα άξιζε τον κόπο.
Είναι όσο νιώθεις. Και είσαι πολύ νέος στη ψυχή, είσαι
True
πολύ
that,
καλός. True that. And Gianni, μου σου ευχόμαστε ό,τι καλύτερο. Παρακολουθούμε τα βήματά σου, που θα είσαι, που θα ακούσουμε ότι είσαι σε λίγο καιρό. Και ευχαριστούμε πάρα πολύ πάλι.
Εγώ ευχαριστώ για την πρόσκληση.
Κάνεις ό,τι καλύτερο για την ελληνική τηλεόραση.
Ευχαριστώ πολύ.
Geodetic scientist and navigation engineer Stavros Melachrinos. Stavros Melachrinos is a global navigation satellite system expert with experience and multicultural connections in France, Europe, and U.S. space industry. Dr. Melachrinos, I can't tell you how excited I am to have you here. We have so much to talk about. I don't think this episode will be enough. But welcome to the United States. You've recently been recruited here by NASA. And that is an honor in itself, and we're very proud that a Greek is part of the NASA team. A lot of Greeks are part of the NASA team.
Yeah, actually, I'd like to correct that. I've been recruited by a contractor who supports NASA projects, okay? So, yeah, thank you for welcoming me at your show today, and I'll be happy to answer to any questions that you might have.
Well, we'd like to start off by, we'd like you to tell our audience, I mean, you are from Kozani.
Yes.
And you're born and raised in Greece. And tell us a little bit about your background and how you ended up in this wonderful position.
I was born in Kozani, as you all said. I attended my studies in University of Aristoteles in Thessaloniki, at the Polytechnic School as a surveyor and engineer. Through our school, we have a section which is called Space Geodesy. And this is the, let's say, specialization that I've chosen to specialize myself on. And then I continued with studies abroad in France, in the Observatory of Paris. And then I earned a scholarship for a PhD in the French Space Agency. And after a couple of years of work in the French space industry, I received an invitation from a contractor here in the US to come and support their activities for NASA. And that's how I ended up here today.
That's wonderful. It's a very exciting career you have, and you're able to tell us about what's going on the Earth from outer space.
Yeah, more or less. There's a lot of things we know that are going on. There's a lot of things that we don't know that are going on, and we're trying to find about. That's why we call it science.
Yes.
So.
And what is geodetic?
Geodetic comes from two words, ancient Greek words. It's called geo, which defines the Earth, and deo, which defines measurement of the shape of the Earth. So it all comes down to be combined to a word called geodesia, which means geodesy in English. So geodetic is the person who does geodesy, in this case, geodetic scientist.
And the Earth is changing, and I mean, as a Greek, I'm sure that you were very influenced by our ancient forefathers, the ancient mathematicians who have influenced the science world today.
Sure.
How has the Earth changed?
The Earth has changed shapes and forms all over since its creation, okay? From the collision with stellar bodies that create the moon, till today through the redistribution of global ice mass or hydrology on the planet. And don't forget that the Earth's crust, on which we're currently sitting on, is floating on a huge ocean of lava and what we call the continental plates.
Liquid fire.
Oh, yeah.
We're floating on liquid fire.
And those plates are constantly moving and changing shape and form, and they create earthquakes or new islands or new submerged areas, which they don't occur, of course, from one day to the other. But
of course, you brought us a video, and we'd like to share that video with our viewers. Would you like to tell us about the video?
Yes, this is a video that NASA has made, and it talks about the science of space geodesy and what is in relation with the measurements of space and time, and from where all this started, more or less, Eratosthenes, with his experiment of in the well of seeing. And
how proud are you?
I'm very proud
Greek
of it.
And be part of this organization that you're,
It's inspirational.
Yes.
Very inspirational.
Well, let's take a look at the video, and we'll be right back.
A long time ago, in ancient Egypt, a clever human named Eratosthenes figured out that when the sun was directly above a deep well in one city, you could stand in a nearby city to the north, measure the angle of the shadows there, and multiply that by the distance between the two cities to get the distance around the entire Earth. With that, the science of geodesy was born. Geodesy deals with the measurement and representation of the Earth, or to put it more simply, it's the science of where things are, and just as importantly, where they have been and where they are going. Through geodesy, we learn the rough size and shape of the Earth, the direction of its rotation, its distance from the Sun, and more. Through triangulation, we could create detailed maps of entire countries. We even figured out that the Earth isn't quite a perfect sphere, and after some arguments and expeditions to Lapland and Peru, we measured that it's just a bit thicker in the middle. Building on this information, we found tons of practical uses for geodesy. Using stars as reference points and accurate watches, we could reliably determine latitude and longitude so that ships could cross giant oceans to get where they needed to go. Explorers visited uncharted regions, mapped them, and even found the tallest mountain in the world. Later, engineers built railroads to get us to all of these places. With a little math and the same reference surface, rail tunnels could be started on both sides of a mountain and somehow still meet in the middle. Life was good. And once we invented radio telescopes and satellites, things got even better. When scientists used a bunch of small radio dishes like one big one to look at quasars, somebody got the idea that you could use these measurements to determine very accurately the distance between the telescopes. Now we can look at the movement of the Earth's crust, changes in how long days are, and how the Earth wobbles on its axis. Satellites also became very important. By analyzing their orbits, we can learn about our planet's changing size and shape and gravity. And by making laser measurements, we can look at everything from changes in the height and shape of the oceans and ice sheets to how the tides work. So, from ancient Egypt to the hundreds of satellites in orbit today, geodesy continues to have a huge impact on our lives. And all because somebody, a long time ago, decided to look down a well.
Very fascinating.
Oh, yeah.
Your work is fascinating. You lead a fascinating life. You're able to see things that we're not. How do you see the world differently from your perspective as a scientist?
Well, it's fun to say that because I had the same question from a friend of mine after our gym, because I was talking to her, I was leading to a building and I was saying to her, oh my God, this is a very energy-poor building. It eats a lot of energy. And she turns back to me and says, what are you saying? Why are you thinking these things like that? Well, it's true for an ordinary person not to think that a glass building consumes a lot of energy, but I do because I see the consequences of it. Right. For example, because it demands a lot of heating, it demands a lot of emission of CO2 gases in the atmosphere, which provoke all what I observe. Yeah. So it's just a simple example of what you might be answering your question about what I'm thinking. But of course, I'm not constantly thinking that. I have a family, so I think about everyday's life problems. But it's true that some part of my work invades also my personal life, let's say, in some sorts.
It's changed your life. I mean, you cannot not think about the climate change. What advice do you have to offer our viewers on keeping it green?
Well, it's a word, green, because it's...
We like to use the word, or energy efficient, or sustainable living.
Sustainable. I would say mostly sustainable. Well, I mean, I'm not...
How can we save the Earth? Because a lot of the countries are not following.
The Earth is going to do fine. The Earth is going to do fine on her own. What are we going to do on the Earth? It's going to do fine. But the thing is, what we would like us, let's say, for them to wonder, what would like the future for their kids to look like? This is what I would say to the audience.
So what is your advice?
Yeah, start thinking about the future and not live on the narrow term, short term, but start looking at the future, what is going to happen.
As Michikaku and Hawkins say, usually, I want to just ask you a question. Is it arrogant to believe we're the only life in the universe?
Yes, it is.
I'm so happy you're saying this, but it is true. I mean,
as it is so arrogant to say that the Earth, we've inherited the Earth, and there's no other living form on the Earth that could enjoy their natural environment apart us.
Yeah.
So this is also so arrogant to say.
If you could show the audience something through your eyes, you can't do it right now. But what is it that you've seen that you would like to share with our audience in your experience as a scientist? What is it that you can share with us visually, verbally about your visual experience?
I have seen the Earth's gravity change, how it changes in the years, for example. For me, it's amazing to be able to understand this in the sense that how it impacts our everyday lives, because it's something that it's a natural process that we don't realize it when we go to work or wherever else, but it's there.
Where is the space program going?
The space program, basically I cannot speak about space program because I'm not a NASA employee, I'm a contractor at NASA. So
yes, but you are working with them and you're seeing how it's excelling.
I mean, NASA has been always excelling from the early ages of my childhood, since from all these films I've watched when I was young till today, and I think it's going to go far in the future too as well.
Yeah.
It's going to excel for a long time.
And Greeks excel, and Greeks have excelled. It's in our DNA, and there's many, many wonderful Greek scientists, and it's sad to see a lot of these wonderful scientists today in Greece that are not having the opportunity to show their work.
Yeah, I mean, opportunity, it's always there, I think. Conditions are hard. To be able to, so the conditions, because they're hard, create this environment of not being able to see the opportunity maybe. But, you know, Greece is not alone, it's inside the European Union, and there are a lot, on my domain, at least in my domain, I know there are a lot of funding schemes. I think is also part of our current culture. I think Greeks should be able somehow to see that, maybe inspired from the ancients, that entrepreneurship is a very big element of success, or let's say tool to allow you to see the opportunity and take it. So, you know, it's been established in our culture, in the old Greek movies that we watch since we were kids, that in order to succeed in Greece, you have to become a public employee.
That was the old way of thinking.
That was the old way of thinking, but
it wasn't the ancient way of thinking.
You got to change mentality. You got to change. Greece is in a period that this model that they had doesn't work anymore. We shouldn't always be waiting for the state to change, although it needs to. Special structures that will favor it, entrepreneurship, need to change, like judiciary, like a case to take place and to find your right takes years in Greece. So stuff like that need to change. But they're not the only things that need to be changed. Also themselves, they need to change. We need to change.
Well, all I can say is inspiring words from an inspired, passionate man. Dr. Melachrinos is doing wonderful things. He's part of a very wonderful wave of scientists organization that's changing and protecting the earth and giving us information constantly. Thank you so much for being here with us. Your information was much needed. And would you like to leave our viewers with a message?
Yeah, I would like to suggest that start worrying about the future, folks. And for the young kids in Greece, follow your dreams. And if you don't have any dreams, always trying to dream about them.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being with us in this Kalimera USA first season. We're going to be back next year with more interviews and interesting Greek Americans that are making a difference in our community today. Happy and healthy New Year from all of us here at New Greek TV.